Okay, we're starting. Shalom, Israel. Hope everybody's having a good day. Tawab weekend. I know that Shabbat kind of like went by fast, and we're always looking back into Monday like, damn, how did it happen so quickly? Shout out Kaukab, LA Judah. Shalom to everyone out there in Israel, serving the Most High, giving themselves to the work. Once again, we are having that second Passover, May 14th. We're already booked, so I'm sorry, we're booked. But for everybody who's coming to Wada, we'll see you guys soon. Let's say, shout out ISBHPK Houston, ISBHPK Rochester, and ISBHPK Norfolk, Virginia. Hope everybody's doing well, committing themselves to the Most High, teaching the Word. Peace and love to everybody out there in all the camps. Today's class, the title is Use Physique, or Ever Thou Be Sick. We're going to go into why the title is framed that way. But before I go into specifically about why the title is framed that way, we just want to make sure this class today is an extension of the class we had last Monday, dealing with finding ways to spiritually thrive in today's age. Understand that there's many things that are going on around us that are created and intended to distract us, to weaken us, to break us down, to take away our power, take away our spiritual strength. And on that vein, we're going to go into, today we're going to focus on the excessiveness that society is kind of set up around us, how society has set up so many distractions around us every day that it's hard to tie your mind down and stay potent for the Heavenly Father. There was a reason that life was the way it was during Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's time, to where you had to travel days and weeks to get from one destination to another. There was a reason that you had to hunt for all of your food. There was a reason everything took time back in those days. There was a reason there wasn't LED lights and all these damn lights every 5 minutes, and that when it was nighttime, it was damn nighttime. Get your ass back in the tent, go to sleep. There were reasons that all these things were happening. It was to slow our life down, to make life more simple, and to keep us more connected to the Heavenly Father, our spiritual base. But as the age of enlightenment came, the age of technology came, everything became easier, faster, but also along with that easier and faster design, it became easier to get distracted, easier to get tossed to and fro and disconnected from the Heavenly Father. And all those things are planned. So today, we want to kind of go into how these distractions and how this excessiveness that we operate in affects our spirit, affects our mind, and affects our relationship with the Heavenly Father.
Yeah, true. And that whole concept is just one of the multiple layers of methods or approaches that they use to suppress people. Mm-hmm. From how they put chemicals in food, from how they sit here and they diminish the caliber of your children's education, to how they put subliminal programming into TVs and televisions, to how they sit here and give us really control opposition. When it comes to, they're funding both sides when it comes to issues and problems. What you have to do is there won't be one smoking gun that diminishes people or the mass population. It's just one of the small layers, no different than when you do with cloud. What is it? The fake clouds they put out in the sky, the chemical clouds. Mm-hmm. Chemtrails. Yeah. Chemtrails. That's just one other layer of weakening and debasing people to do what? What is the whole point?
Disconnect us from the
to create a more moldable nation of weaker people. Mm-hmm. So now when you deal with the intellectual element of people, was another way to kill the intellect of people. To legalize drugs, mm-hmm. Right? We get to get our class, but
or to weaponize things that were created just to sustain us. Mm-hmm. The first part of our class is going to be dealing with surfeiting, the excessiveness in our eating habits. Yeah. Then we're going to read into the excessiveness in our spiritual clarity, things that were intended to sustain us on a daily basis has been weaponized. The excessiveness of food, the excessiveness of the different, I would say, fleshly tendencies.
Yeah.
All of our fleshly tendencies have been
our sensations have been
intensified and brought out to weaken us.
Yeah.
But,
so the sex sells concept, not everything is sexual.
Yep.
I thought I was growing up with sexual. But now it's even more sexual than it was when I was growing up.
It's more deviant sexuality.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the same sexuality. It's just more deviant and more perverse.
Even the concept of corn. Right?
I remember the Bud Light girls in the 80s. I remember the Bud Light girls in the 80s and 90s.
That was awesome.
And it was like, man, it'll mess your whole head up.
I can't wait.
That is a Bud Light boy.
Yeah.
How about that? That's how times have changed over 30 years or so. It was Bud Light girls. Oh, man, this is crazy. They're at the beach in the sweetest bikini team. Remember all that craziness, 80s and 90s?
I took a picture next to Spud McKenzie. McKenzie when I was a little boy.
Yeah, that's hilarious. You have a picture next to the Spud McKenzie.
Good Spud McKenzie, bro. By Ingram Park Mall, chilling like this.
That's hilarious.
Having a blast in front of Bud Light, bro. But everything over time is made more toxic.
Yeah.
For what purpose? To break the soul of people, to break the righteous intent of people. So what's another process that? We're going to the digital sphere.
Digital age, yeah.
The digital sphere is not anything different.
Let's go on.
Okay, cool.
We're good. This is a great intro, but I don't want to give all the information out. We don't need to pull Bible verses, man.
Let's go.
We got to read the book of the Lord, man. So the first verse we're going to go into is Ecclesiasticus chapter 37, verse 27 through 31. Make sure you have your 1828s handy. So Ecclesiasticus chapter 37, verse 21 through 31.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 37, verse 21.
No, it's 37, verse 27.
Verse 27.
To the end, yes, sir.
My son, prove thy soul in thy life.
So listen, everyone has a responsibility to prove your own spirit in your life, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman. It's important to look inward, to study yourself, to learn yourself. You know, Jay always says, knowledge yourself.
Yeah.
And it's true, but knowledge yourself is really understanding, first of all, who you are, your nationality, understanding the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Then once you get past that, then you still have to learn how to prove yourself. Read on. We're going to explain what that means. Once you get the basic foundation of the law, what does proving yourself mean?
My son, prove thy soul in thy life, and see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it. So
once you know the laws and commandments, you still have to start learning what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what environment, what type of people, what type of influence strengthens you, and one type of influence breaks you and diminishes you. That is just as important of a thing to learn as you're proving yourself in your life as learning the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. I have to know what I don't want to say it, what environment, what do you call it, influence weakens your spirit, and fight your tail off not to succumb and even be around that influence in the midst of all the mistakes and the ups and the downs that we go through in our life. Yeah. A lot of us have issues with pride, lust, fear, anger, and the part of the keys of surviving in life is to know which of those is your kryptonite, air quote, or your fatal flaw, and do everything you can to not succumb to what's naturally an innate weakness in yourself.
And the Catholics call it the 7 deadly sins. What is your deadly sin? There's a lot of them. Not just 7.
If you're honest.
Yeah. What sin corrupts your life? They say greed, lust, jealous, like
gluttony.
Gluttony. Okay, there's a movie about it too.
Yeah, I know.
There's a good movie about it. But the whole point is, you know what? There's a lot of issues that control people, and this is one of the layers that has an effect on people.
So, continue. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 37, now verse 28.
28. For all things are not profitable, for all men.
Because at this point, it's about learning what's profitable for you, what works for you, what brings about a positive net in your life, versus realizing what forces you to go take 2 and 3 steps back. Have you ever noticed that in your life? There's certain things that allow you to progress in your life serving the Most High. Then there's other things that if you feed it and you follow into it, you feel like you're starting right back at square one again. Have you ever felt that before? Like, I'm right back where I started from 5 years ago because I gave myself to this or that. So part of the keys of life is making sure you don't let certain weaknesses and you bring you back down low. And if it does, can you learn from that mistake and not fall again? Read on.
For all things are not profitable for all men, neither have every soul pleasure in everything.
Neither does every soul thrive in every environment. If I'm the type of person that I have issues motivating myself, then I better sit back here and surround myself with people that are motivated, that are type A personalities. If I'm not type A, then I better be around type A people to take me out of my type C mentality. I don't even know if there's a type C mentality, but there's a lot of Israelites that got it. It ain't even type B. It's type C. Maybe even type E and F. And G and all that other stuff. Aura. Type aura. Not R. Aura. Motors are slow as hell. I got to find out in my life where I'm not strong at and be around these people who are. If I have problems with pride, then I got to be around people who are good listeners, who are good followers. What's my weakness? Figure out what doesn't work for me and replace that with people, studying, and influence that helps me get a grasp on these issues. Read on, sir.
Verse 29. Be not insatiable in any dainty thing.
Now we're going to start dealing with, we're still living in the vein of managing your spirit. That's what the last part of this chapter 37 is about. Managing your spirit. Proving your soul. Figuring out what works for you and what doesn't work. Because, everybody can sit back here. I don't think there's any doubting about the laws, statutes, and commandments. Everybody in this room and online knows, don't go to the club on the Sabbath. Okay? That's not why Israel falls. There's a crack is whack. We know that too. Don't do crack. If you're doing crack, you know you're messing up. But those aren't the things that brings a man down. The things that brings a man or woman down are these insatiable traits that we have in ourselves.
Obsessive compulsive.
Well, let's go into it. You're giving up. I gotta go to the definitions, brother. Insatiable. Let's look up 1828. Insatiable. You're breaking down the information.
What's going on out here, bro? I understand.
That's what I'm saying, man. Compulsive person. Come on, B. Let's just finish it. Insatiable. What is it? Does anybody have it? Insatiable in 1828. You're right. I was just.
I know you're going that direction, bro.
Man, what we're going to we got to go into the definition of insatiable.
Insatiable.
Ready?
Come. Insatiable, to satisfy, incapable of being satisfied or appeased.
Listen, that is a real issue with our people,
and
that goes beyond just the Torah and it's a knock, right? You can sit back here and follow the law. But what about that part of you that just can't be satisfied?
You can lay on the ground on the Shabbat, not touch anything, and totally eat salads.
Listen, but you prepared the salad in tinfoil, or in plastics the night before. So you don't do no work. You don't cut lights on. It's just candles.
It's candles in Shabbat.
You're a super Shabbat guy. But then guess what? The next day you're insatiable. You can't control your desire for dainty things. Then what? Then are you on point or not?
I'm only on point one day out the week.
That's the point. That is the point. So once you understand the law, then you have to get past it and understand that insatiable spirit in us. And once again, as you're proving your soul in your life, you can be finding out, what am I insatiable in? What is a part of me that can never be appeased? That I never can get enough of. For some of us, it's freedom. Some of us got to have flipping freedom.
No matter what. At all costs.
And a lot of times, you can tell when people are stressed. A lot of times, I know a lot of people in my life that have been this way. When you're stressed, you gotta leave the city. I got to go to another state. Why you gotta cross state lines when times are tough, right? I know a lot of people that gotta cross state lines when they're stressed out.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
Right.
And it's like your mind is wired for a vacation. Your mind is wired for an escape. I gotta get out of here.
It's a time zone.
Was that? You just gotta change time zone. These are, baby, I just gotta switch to mountain time. Can I switch to mountain time? That'll make me feel good. But okay, so listen, do it again, insatiable.
Con. Definition of insatiable, 1828 Webster Dictionary.
Let's read it.
Incapable of being satisfied or appeased. Very greedy.
Very greedy. Listen, there's parts of us that are insatiable. Listen, whether it's lust, whether it's the flesh, whether it's the desire for freedom, whether it's the desire for comfort. Even though it's like, listen, for a person who likes to sleep, is 8 hours enough?
Never.
Hell, you gotta have 9. If you get 9, guess what? You need 10. And when you get up after 10, guess what?
Tired.
I'm so tired after 10 hours of sleep. As you get up, I always say it, you get you a bowl of cereal and you go back to sleep. It's the truth. That's a person that craves sleep. You understand that once you get past the law, then you start realizing that there's still more deficiencies in each and every one of us. And as I'm proving my soul in my life, can I start getting a pattern of what things I can never get enough of? What are things that I can't just get out of my mind? What are thoughts that I just can't block off? What are urges that I just can't shake? That I might, Scripture says, resist the devil and he shall flee from you, right?
Yeah.
So what's that thought that after you resist him, guess what he does? Comes right back. That is an insatiable spirit, an insatiable lust that continues to come back and attack your mind. So as you're proving yourself in your life, are you insatiable in dainty things? Can we look up dainty real quick?
Yeah.
Con.
Dainty.
How do you resist them in that case?
We're trying to define it first. We're defining what going on. We're jumping the gun. We're jumping the gun. If I give you the answer to that, we'll be done at 9 o'clock. Okay. Dainty.
1828. Dainty. Nice. Pleasing to the palate. Of exquisite taste. Delicious.
Read on. Delicious. Read on.
God. Delicate. Of acute sensibility.
No, read verse 1 again.
Oh,
The first one.
Nice. Pleasing to the palate.
Listen to your appetites. What does you love? Here's what we're going to read as initially in this verse, the dainties, the insatiableness, the surfeiting deals with foods and the physical. But as we go into class, we're going to find out that these dainties are spiritual also. And that this surfeiting is in the mind also. So initially we're dealing with the things that are tasty to the palate, to the mouth. Right? Read on.
Of exquisite taste.
Okay.
Yeah, goes right here.
Well, keep going. Keep going on this.
Delicious.
You know what? We're gonna let it go there. Number 1, the noun version of dainty.
Something nice and delicate to the taste. That which is exquisitely delicious. A delicacy.
It's delicious. But I had to say it again. Why am I saying this? Because in life, we have to be conscious of the things that we really like and learn that we can't get to what? In that process. Read that verse again, verse 29. No, it's 20. Yeah, verse 29.
Yeah. Be not insatiable in any dainty thing.
Be not unsatiable. Now somebody else give me unsatiable again. While you keep your dainty, Your deliciousness.
Yeah.
And I need you to say it with passion. You didn't say delicious with enough passion. Enough passion. Yes, but not with enough passion. Who's got insatiable though?
Insatiable. Incapable of being satisfied or appeased.
So he's telling you, as you're learning your spirit, you have to make sure that you don't like something too much. You can't be unsatiable in any dainty thing. What is he telling us about your soul? There can't be anything that you have too much of attachment to, too much of a carnal affinity to.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because if there's anything that you have too much of a carnal affinity to, that will be the beginning of your demise. Mm-hmm. And that goes before the corruption of the law. That goes before you fall by the law. One of the things that you, in your head, you got to have. And if your head you got to have it, you better start learning how to cut it off or cut it down. Because if you don't learn how to start cutting those things that you truly enjoy, that you deem as delicious, that will be the thing that will start to bring out the worst of you. Because if I don't learn self-control and discipline in every arena of my life, that will be the way and means in which I fall in my life. Okay, read that. What's that? What are you gonna say?
I got this out too. It says right here. It says dainty. It says number 2, delicate or of acute sensibility.
Okay.
When you go into a sensibility, it says sensibility is acuteness of sensation. Acuteness of sensation applied to the body. It's really about enjoying all the details of the sensation, not just the sensation, but enjoying every single element that comes with that sensation. Then it says susceptibility of impressions and capacity for feeling or perceiving. Because how much you can feel. It's the capacity. How much sensation can a person absorb?
Huh? Because what you're going to realize is a lot of our people, whether it's in eating, listen, people indulge into eating because of the endorphins.
Yeah.
Because of how a person feels
Yeah.
when they eat these bad foods.
Huh.
It gives a person a rush. It makes a person feel better about their conditions.
Yeah.
Whether it's that or our people love comfort. How many of our people have to watch their TV shows? Have to listen to so much music a day?
To their feel.
To their feel.
Because it says perceiving the impressions of external objects.
Yes.
It's about the external world.
Now,
it's about things around you.
And in this verse, it deals with foods, meats, candies, cookies. You ever notice that you're like, I just got to have chocolate around somewhere out in my house? Whether it's chocolate or it's sugars or it's alcohol, or you ever notice I'm not drinking alcohol, so now I'm eating the hell out of candy now?
Yeah.
Then you switch from one drug to another drug, or you just go get meat drunk everywhere you go. Everything is a Dove Shack guy. It's Dove Shack on Monday, Dove Shack on Tuesday, Dove Shack on Wednesday, In and Out on Thursday. It's just meat drunk everywhere you go. Once again, the accessibility of it gives us this option. But the feeding and the fueling of that desire is what weakens us. Because we're reading in Ecclesiastes 37 is, when you're proving yourself in your life, you have to know what's good for you and what's not good for you. Just because it feels good doesn't mean it's good for you. To be honest with you, because it feels good, that means it's not good for your spirit. This is what Sirach is explaining in this chapter. Okay? Read on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 37 verse 29. Be not insatiable in any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meat.
And nor too greedy upon meats. To the point where do you think our sicknesses come from? We have too much meat. We eat in excess. We eat beyond just being full. We eat to sit back here and get a feeling, not just a full feeling. We've conditioned ourselves. I don't know if you ever watched it. There was a show that was about weight loss, right? Mm-hmm. And they said part of the keys to weight loss is dealing with the psychological training that we've been taught from our youth. We've been taught from our youth to do what with our plates? Finish our plate. But what if you weren't full? What if you weren't hungry? You're conditioning yourself to gorge yourself beyond what you need to psychologically finish a plate you weren't supposed to finish in the first place.
Then have your drink.
Then drink a bunch of liquid on top of it, and then get a dessert after that. And you wonder why the obesity rate is so high. Because we never learn just to trust our body. Eat slower, take your time, just eat enough to fill you, to get the full feeling.
Yeah.
That idea we're not used to. But what are we going into? Why am I going to all this health stuff? This is because I know, listen, eating portion size is a real thing. When you talk about portion size, they say that your stomach is this big. Why are we eating plates that are this big? Why are we eating like 15 wings, Zach, and fries, a large fry basket, and soda pop?
You gotta finish.
And bread.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got wings up. I'll take some celery sticks too. Why do you want celery sticks? Just throw them joints away and just deal with that carne. Why are you lying to yourself? I need my fiber. Right. My fiber. Get out of here, right? But then you get the damn the sauce, that real fatty sauce. The ranch. I take a big ass bowl of ranch to drown down these celery sticks. And you're acting like you're eating healthy. You're not eating healthy. Listen, the damn ranch is like a burger. I'm not going to name the brother. But we used to go to Super Salad. And we used to eat salads.
And defeat the purpose.
And don't give the story out. The brother would go to Super Salad. We would get salad. And I would get like olive oil. And the brother that is not to be named would like drown the salad with like ranch, bro. I'm like, do you realize you just had a burger and fry with your salad? Listen, it wasn't just like a little, no, it was like,
now
it was like gushing over.
Now it's good.
I'm like, but bro, you're not even eating salad anymore. The calories in that ranch is defeated the purpose of eating the salad in the first place. And he was like, man, I just had to do it. Okay then, let's go get a burger and fries then. Why are we lying ourselves to ourselves?
Yeah.
But why are we going into this? The excessiveness of meats, the excessiveness of our nature shows where our spirit is at. So as the brother in the class in the verse is saying, read verse 28 again. I think 29 again.
29. Ecclesiastes 37:29. Be not insatiable in any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meats.
Because he's Most High is teaching us that we're not supposed to be too excessive in anything. Listen, you ever notice, like, once you start eating tacos, you gotta get tacos every day? Do you really think eating tacos every morning is a good decision?
No.
That's not a good answer. Every day?
There's a no poly and egg.
Even if it's no poly and egg, it's not good. You can't get no granola in there, right?
No
granola. You can't just say, I'm just gonna eat granola today, right? Or then there's no yogurt. You just can't do yogurt for a day, right?
Yogurt does not exist in the mornings.
There's no yogurts. It's just carne, it's meat and tacos. It's picadillo. And it's like this greasy picadillo where you're eating it. And it's like, man, I'm eating a bad taco.
The last one. To the next one.
And you eat like two of them, bro. You're like meat drunk, and you know there's nothing but like grease that's flowing through your body. And you're just moving a little slower because of it. You know your heart was immediately affected after eating that picadillo. I don't know if you had a picadillo that bad where it's like, damn, bro. Because I'll go to this thing, I'm trying to be like a conscious guy. Can I get the picadillo dry? And it's like they don't hear the fact that I said dry. So I'll say dry, and you know it's a bad choice when you get the bag. And as soon as they give you the bag, it's grease coming out the bottom of it. You're like, damn, bro, this dude did not listen to my request. Anyway, I'm painting a picture because I maybe I eat too much tacos in the morning. But what am I explaining? As you're proving in your life, the Most High is trying to tell you something about your personality. And our personality swings, and our desire for excessiveness in food, our excessiveness in lust, our excessiveness in comfort, our excessiveness in whatever our vice is. This is beyond just the law. If we want to sit back and manage and gauge ourselves, and we understand that Satan and the powers that be have created society to attack these vices and these desire for meats and dainty things in our spirit,
to exploit that almost
that insatiable lust in you.
Yeah.
This is what's
and encourage
happening.
it. Because it's always encouraged. People wouldn't. If there was many burger commercials, you wouldn't be so likely to do it. It's constantly encouraged.
And that's the point. So let's continue in verse 30.
Verse 30. For excess of meats bringeth sickness.
Excess of meats, excess of anything brings sickness. Why do you think people have constipation issues? People have blood circulation issues, high blood pressure. What are some of the things that come from excessive meats? Stomach illnesses.
Constipation.
Yeah, I said that earlier. Constipation.
Or is it acne?
Huh?
Acne.
Well, acne. You can't flush out.
Inflammation.
Inflammation, exactly.
In women, fibroids as well, because it produces more hormones.
Exactly. That's why the young girls already showing at like 11 years old. It's because of the food. It's because of the diet. So what are we learning? We're learning that all these excessive meats also show deficiencies in our spirit. And we have to start learning. We should be making account of our spirits in our daily operation.
Of our excessive elements in the day. But we don't do that.
Or even listen, how come I can't just get up and get a jog in the morning?
Yeah.
Why can't I sit back and just work out? Why is that such a problem? Why is it that I have to have this type of food in the morning? Why is it that I got to pick up this beer at night? Why is it that I got to have this alcohol? What are the excessive natures? What's the excessiveness in my flesh when I'm stressed? Why all of a sudden is lust a priority now? When I'm angry, why do I binge eat? When I'm depressed, why do I binge eat? Well, we don't even got to go into the whys, but this is part of the proving process in our life. Because if you want to stay on top of your spirit, once you get past the law, you have to still look for certain things in your spirit that end up breaking you, that end up weakening you, that end up diminishing who you are as a man or woman in this truth. Okay, let's continue.
For excess of meats bringeth sickness, and
surfeiting
will turn into choler.
God, listen. God, there's nothing wrong with some dark chocolate if it's in moderation, ma'am. Just a dab. Like if it's like 80% cacao, we're okay. But we can't say dark chocolate is like Hershey's. You're like, I just want some dark chocolate. No, there was a percentage.
No, and it's great for you.
There's a percentage. When we're in the 80s, we're dealing with decent chocolate.
Yeah.
We're eating 70%, 65% Hershey's up in here.
Yeah.
It had peanuts in it. Get out of here, bro. It was a Mr. Goodbar.
Yeah.
That doesn't qualify. Or when you get trail mix, and 75% of the trail mix is like candy
M&M's.
or chocolates.
M&M's.
But it's not just, it's M&M's and then it's chocolates, then it's salt. Like, come on, bro. This is not healthy. And it'll be like it'll be like 5 raisins to like 15 chocolates out.
It's to satisfy the sensation. Yeah.
Listen, that's not a good decision. That's not wisdom. But okay, so what are we getting to? Where it says, for excessive meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting. Let's get surfeit. SURFEIT.
Okay. Come.
Yeah, I want the first definition of surfeit. I want the second, and I want the first one in a noun sense.
Come.
Who's got it?
Second one first.
I said the first, second, and then the first in the noun.
Come. Surfeiting. Oppressing the system.
No, I want surfeit. I didn't want surfeiting.
Oh,
To feed with meat or drink, so as to oppress the stomach and derange the functions of the system.
Because that's what ends up happening. When you overdo anything, not just meat, but this surfeiting, this example of surfeiting is where you eat to the point where it starts to derange the functions of the system. Somebody find or look up deranged in 1828. Surfeiting is when you eat so much it ends up throwing your system out of whack. For anybody who will sit back here and say, man, I have issues, flushing out. You know what the solution is? The first thing you got to do before you start taking all these wonder pills and drugs is fast. Because a lot of times we eat so much we don't give our body time to digest what we've already eaten. The crazy thing is certain people's digestive systems can flush out quickly. Other people have slow-moving digestive systems. Everybody doesn't have a fast-moving digestive system. So for a person who has a slow-moving digestive system, you can't eat as much and as frequently as a person who has a quicker system. These are just realities that we have to learn about our body. So for people who have problems flushing out, that means you got to go maybe intermittent fasting first. Maybe go 6 or 7 hours before you eat meals to give your body time to digest, to give your stomach in your system a time to break. So the Most High is like, surfeiting is different for different people. When I was really young, I could eat and flush out immediately. I'm in my 40s now. I don't have that same system. So surfeiting for me now wasn't necessarily what it was before. So I have to sit back now and say, okay, I can't eat at the frequency, the volume as I used to. I got to cut down on my intake if I want to find success in this arena. Because if I overeat, I'm going to derange my system. Who has deranged?
Deranged. To put out of order.
Exactly. What he's telling you is, if I eat too much meat, my system gets put out of order. If I tap into any dainty food or item or vice, alcohol, anything, if I do too much of it, it starts to put my system out of order. What was deranged again, sir?
To put out of order.
To put out of order. You got another word?
The third point in the definition says, we do with the physical body. The physical body, when we're doing surfeiting and excessive foods, puts the body out of order. The third point says, to disorder the intellect.
I know.
Oh, we gotta talk about it, man.
It's here. It's later.
Okay.
So yes, where we're dealing with surfeiting on multiple levels. I was kind of explaining, it's not just in a dietary scenario. It's also on an intellectual level. We'll get into more detail later on that. But for now, we're dealing with diet and how when you overload the body, then you sit back and derange the body. You derange your system. And all of a sudden your body is out of whack, and we wonder why we have high blood pressure. We wonder why we sit back and have heart disease. We get colon cancer, we get polyps in our colon.
Or we get strokes.
Or we end up getting strokes because we're overloading our system. And we're not, because the key to sustaining your body is to discipline itself. The key to survival, the key to strength, the key to sustaining what you have is your ability to deny yourself of your physical impulses.
That's not the example of everything around
the world. Because the world is designed to accentuate and feed all of your desires. But if you're going to sit back and understand what it takes to continue to get the Most High's attention, you got to learn your laws, statutes, and commandments. But it goes beyond that. Once you learn that, what are you willing to sit back here and deny yourself of on a daily basis to maintain your health? And as we read on, to maintain your spiritual potency. What are we going to do? How hard are we going to work to keep our spiritual edge, so to speak? Okay, let's continue.
To put out of order. To disturb the regular order of. To throw into confusion.
Give me one again.
To put out of order.
No, where are you at? What word is this? Deranged? Let's get back to surfing.
Gone.
You know what we do? We also blame. We look at the people that go in restaurants on those machines that are super overweight, and we look at them as the only ones that have that.
It's not that like my 600-pound life, like you see on Lifetime or those damn crazy shows before Dr. Pimple Popper.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not just the extreme of the 600 pounder that can't get out of the bed.
But that's what we
Listen,
see.
there's surfeiting
Yeah.
in each and every one of us. Most I said, look into there's a little 600-pound little boy in you right now, and little girl in your spirit.
Yeah.
It ain't just the obese person that just can't stop ordering chicken and fries out. There's parts of you that can't control the insatiableness inside of you. Yes, I.
You ever seen that Matilda movie? Right?
No, I haven't seen him
That
until.
little boy, he just wouldn't stop eating that. He had to eat his force, eating that chocolate cake. You know what I'm talking about?
I've never. That's crazy. Bro, all I know is we look at them and say, "Ha ha, I'm not like them."
That's the surfing.
Let me watch this bad person can't take a bath, has to go outside and get sprayed off, hosed off to get a bath.
And
that person is really bad and ain't like me.
And when somebody breaks,
I only got to lose 20 pounds.
That's it.
I'm just 20 pounds overweight.
That's not. Come.
Get out of here. But this is what the Most High is saying is everybody has to prove their own soul in their life. What am I weak to? Am I weak to distractions? What is my dainty meat? You can say, I don't have a problem with eating meat. I'm a vegetarian. All right, B. I know a lot of vegetarians that eat too much starch.
Starchitarians.
That's the point. I knew a brother that was. I'm not gonna eat the meat. Every day it was pasta this, pasta that, bread this, bread that, bread that. I'm like, damn, bro.
Bread kings.
You're going crazy. You're gaining weight being a vegetarian. Like, what's going on? You got a little like motorcycle tire on your stomach, guy. Not a big truck tire, but like a motorcycle tire. Right? I'm like, bro, what's going on? Well, all you see is bread and fried foods.
But it's not meat.
Fried like what do you call it? Cauliflower and stuff like that. You ever see those like vegan like barbecue wings?
Yeah.
They'll take cauliflower, fry it, and throw some hot sauce on it. And this is just like hot wings. First of all, no, it's not. Hell no, it's not.
Don't kill the illusion.
That's a lie. That's a damn lie. Those cauliflower like hot wings are green. They're a lie. They're tasty, but they're a lie. And don't let anybody fool you on it. What am I saying? I know a lot of people that will sit back here and go vegan or vegetarian, and they all they do is eat bread all damn day long, and they think they're on point, and they're still getting sick. What am I saying? What am I saying? It's not just about meat and hamburgers and food. What is in your spirit that you have a proclivity to, that you always go to, that weakens you, that deranges your system, that deranges your physical body? And are you willing to sit back here and cut that out so your body can operate at an optimal level? That's the question that the Most High is posing to us. If we're really here to prove our spirit in our life.
Well, I'll say this: the practice of surfing is put in the bread and circus concept.
Good.
People have these water-a-thons. We've all heard about the one guy, right, or a couple guys that they had a contest who could drink the most water, right?
Mm-hmm.
The person that won so much money. When the guy drowned, he actually died because the body could not absorb all the water that was in his gut. It couldn't absorb it, so his cells suffocated. It was water, but it was extreme.
God?
It's still the practice of surfing.
God. But so listen,
Yeah.
this is what we're dealing with. And let's continue, because I don't want to make the class just about the perils of eating meat. But this is going to kind of set the tone for the rest of the class. Let's continue.
Ecclesiastes 37 and verse 30. For excess of meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting will turn into choler.
Listen, choler is the bile, and it just deals with just stomach sickness, man. When you sit back and overeat or overindulge, there is a negative repercussion to feeding the flesh too much. So understanding, if we're going to sit back here and please the Most High, it's not, listen, it doesn't make sense that we're sitting back here reading Bible verses and talking about the commandments, but I can't control my diet. I can't control my lust. I can't control my fleshly impulses. If I can't control my impulses and control my desires, then am I really pleasing the Heavenly Father? This is the point he's explaining, and that goes beyond just the basic commandments. Now,
That's crazy, bro.
so listen, but this should keep us busy and mentally on our toes. We have to be looking for aspects and elements in us that weaken us, that we're just not naturally strong at. Read verse 31.
31. By surfeiting.
So by overindulgence in meats, deranging our system with our different dainties and vices. Read on.
Have many perished.
Many have perished, Doc, because they've overindulged themselves into drinking, overindulged themselves into lust, overindulged themselves into sleeping. You ever see somebody this vice? I just want to go to bed and run from shit.
Yeah.
When there's problems, where's the war? Niggas sleeping upstairs. There's people that do that. All they do is sleep. You think that's healthy? No. Whether it's overindulgence in eating, meat, alcohol, carnal pursuits, many have perished because our pursuits aren't healthy for us. Read on.
But he that taketh heed prolongeth his life.
If you taketh heed, prolongs your life.
But that's the hard part. The hard part is the taking heed because I don't recognize it as a problem.
So what's the Most High telling you?
Yeah.
Your life and your quality of life is contingent upon your discipline. You know how religious we get?
Yeah.
Oh, I serve the Most High. I can eat all the hamburgers and what Most High got me. Like, no, it's not the truth. You can't just eat bad and expect the Most High to look after you.
But it's lawful.
You can't just sit back here and just not take care of your health. You know how many black people don't like to eat anything green on their plate? You think I'm lying?
That's real.
You know how many Israelite men, if it's green, it will stay on the plate. It better be hamburger brown. It better be fried yellow.
That's all good.
Potato yellow out and hamburger brown out. That is okay. You sit back here and start throwing some asparagus in there, out. Shit. Come on, out. You better put you better drown it with butter.
Yeah.
You better drown it with butter. You better put a lot of salt on it, out. Salt and pepper.
This is delicious.
Butter, out.
This is delicious now.
Maybe sprinkle a little sugar on it, out.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Seriously.
You put some sugar and Jake will eat it, out.
And we even go to the intensity.
It's the truth. Huh?
We can go to how crazy it is the sugar addiction alone.
Con.
That's worse than cocaine, bro.
Con.
They say literally it's easier to break cocaine than it is to break sugar.
They show that the dopamine levels, people that eat sugar, is the same as the dopamine levels people that take coke. The brain scans are very similar. Whether it's cocaine or it's sugar, it's the same kind of high. And that's the real thing. That's real. But and this is why, as we're reading this, we have to sit back and know what's evil for our spirit and start learning. If you like something too much, if you're too addicted to something, you got to start cutting it off for your spirit's sake and for your health's sake.
This is why I like. This is why I like. I can't have many things because all these laws and commandments are here.
Exactly.
There's too many laws and commandments
There's already a bunch of limitations serving the Most High. Who wants to hear that on top of the limitations in serving the Most High, there's more limitations if you want your life to be prolonged? Yes, sir.
That collar.
Because I don't want to cut you off. I just want to say one thing. Hold your thought about the collar. What the Most High is saying is, on top of the laws that you have to follow, out of the very few freedoms and rights that you have, you got to give that up too. That's what psychologically messes with a lot of mankind. I can't tap into the carnal flesh. So then now there's something that I can do lawfully, and then the Most High still won't let me do it?
I'm saying no.
Because if I do it, it'll make me sick. This is what eats at people. This is what psychologically pisses people off in regards to serving the Most High. It's always a no. It's either a no, or you can only do it every once in a while. And that dichotomy aggravates people. What was you going to say about Colorado?
I think it's very similar to GERD, the reflux. That's when the lower esophageal muscle that sphincter,
Mhm.
that muscle. It opens when you eat food, and then it opens up, releases into the stomach. But if you eat too often, too much, excessively, you wear out that muscle to where it can't close. It just stays open. You wear out the muscle, so then you get the reflux coming up through your esophagus. You cough it up, you burp it up, you have trouble sleeping, high blood pressure and everything. But pretty sure that's what colic
You wore it off.
And that's the point.
Yeah.
All the eating, all the excess, it deranges the system.
Yeah.
And this is what the Most High is saying. The things that you're into, you can't be into it too much, because you'll derange your system, you'll overload your system, and then you'll be no good to the Most High anyway. Okay? So we're going to let this verse go and go to the next one, which is Ecclesiasticus 31, verse 12 through 19. I'm saying that because we just get
I'm good.
There's a lot.
I'm tapped in now, bro. I'm tapped in now.
Now you
All the
tapped
way.
in now.
I'm tapped in.
We're in. We're zoned in.
I'm zoned all the way in, bro.
Okay. Ecclesiasticus 31, verse 12. I'm sorry, verse 12 through 19.
Come.
God, listen.
Ecclesiastes chapter 31, verse 12 reads, "If thou sit at a bountiful table."
And this verse kind of goes right alongside what we were talking about before. If thou sit at a bountiful table.
Now, what is that? A bountiful table?
A bountiful table is a table where everything that you want is available
That's
to
the
you.
problem.
Everything that you like is there.
Chopsticks, huh?
Bro, I guess it's top six. Whatever zone y'all into. But you know what? Once again, it's not just food.
Yeah.
It's when you're in a situation where I have access to anything at my heart's content. Read on.
"If thou sit at a bountiful table, be not greedy upon it, and say not, there is much meat on it."
Most High is like, listen, just because there's a lot of meat on the table, there's a lot of options around you. He says you can't say, man, there's a whole lot of meat for me.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee. He's like saying, no, even if you have the opportunity to overindulge, don't do it.
Different types, though.
He's in all things in life. He's teaching us how to stay connected to the Most High. Because the true determination of where a man's heart is to the Most High is based upon his or her restraint. Because you can listen, just because you follow the laws and commandments, the Most High doesn't all the way know your heart. The Most High knows your heart when you have the opportunity to take more, take advantage of situations when you have power to do so, and you choose not to take advantages of opportunities when you have power to do so to feed your flesh. That's how the Most High starts to determine where your love is at
But
for Him.
You won't hear that in the moral code.
You're not going to hear that in most anywhere. When you get opportunities to take things, just because you take it doesn't. You weren't supposed to take it because you had an opportunity to take it. Why just take things just for the hell of being greedy? He's like, the Most High sets up situations for you to take things that you don't need just to see if you do it. If given the freedom. That's how he determines where a person's love and heart is for him.
But it's not shrimp, crab,
Are
and
you
lobster.
extreme?
Huh.
What kind of mind are you? Because you know how low level most of our people's mind is. As soon as we get an opportunity, we take it. As soon as we get an advantage, we take it. And if that's how we roll, whether it's with men taking women, whether it's brothers taking comfort, taking ease, if that's how we're wired, the Most High knows He can't build with that person. If all we're wired to do is take advantages of opportunities that benefit you, then what's going to happen when you have to lead a camp in a school and you have the option to choose benefits over the body?
And you're past the check.
What are you going to do?
Come.
You're going to choose the benefit despite the body. This is what the Most High is looking. When you're at a table and you have the opportunity to take advantage of something, do you do it? He said, just because the table is plentiful doesn't mean you just take everything on the table for yours. Prove what's evil for your spirit and give not unto it. Are you an excessive individual? Are you a taker? Are you an opportunist?
Can
This is what the scripture is saying. Are you an opportunist? An opportunist is whenever there's an advantage that I can get, I take it.
Immediately.
And I don't sit back and think about who else might need this. Who else can benefit from this? Do I really need this over another person? Or am I just going to take it because it's an opportunity
And
for
I
me?
play the legal game, which is
It came to me first.
that too. But I also say, hey, I don't see a law that says la'ah about
Exactly.
this situation.
Mm-hmm.
This is not in the scripture.
Hello. Let's continue.
There is much meat on it. Remember that a wicked eye is an evil thing,
Mm-hmm.
and what is created more wicked than eye? Therefore it weepeth upon every occasion.
Therefore it weepeth upon every occasion. That wicked eye takes for him every chance they could get. There's nothing more wicked than the eye. So the way the Most High can test you is when you get freedom. What do you do with your freedom? As soon as you get freedom, if you take advantage of it, it was like, I can't work with this person. Because whenever they get freedom, they go run. Whenever they get an opportunity to come up, they take it. And they never think about how their actions affect other people. Yes, sir.
Want that definition of opportunist?
No, I don't. I'm cool with that because I don't want to take it too far from the point. Let's continue.
Verse 14. Stretch not thine hand whithersoever it looketh.
He says, don't stretch your hand wherever you can stretch it.
That means it didn't say against the law stretch your hand. It says don't stretch your hand every single time.
For an advantage.
For your benefit.
For your benefit. He's like, just because you can reach that turkey out, don't mean that you're supposed to reach the turkey. We're using on the carnal physical metaphor to show about your spirit.
Yeah.
Just because you can take this woman don't mean you should. Just because you can take for an advantage don't mean that you should take for the advantage. This is what the Most High is trying to teach us about our psyche, about how we operate.
But I'm into the abuse of my liberty. I'm in the abuse of my leverage.
And if that's how you show you are, the Most High won't ever put you in a position where people depend on you. Because this is how he can determine what type of a man or woman you are. Are you leadership material as a man? Based upon, listen, and when you get an opportunity to come up, you're shitting on the body.
But I went to work.
Yep.
And I
did what I was supposed to do.
Come.
But then when I get an opportunity for more leverage and the benefit of me, I'm going to take
But
it.
my life is my life, and I'm not wrong for that.
And those type of people, there's limits to your growth. Read on.
Done. And thrust it not with him into the ditch. Judge not thy neighbor by thyself, and be discreet in every point.
Mm-hmm.
Eat as it becometh a man.
Eat something right there.
I know.
Eat as it becometh a man.
Mm-hmm.
What is a man? What should a man be known for? A real man's known for, huh?
Moderation.
A man's known for taking care of his people.
Yep.
That's what makes you a real man. Your ability to take care of the people that depend on you makes you a man, because people depend on a man.
Mm-hmm.
A father is a man, right? Maybe not in this world, but a father tradition is a man, right? And people depend on his decision making.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, eat as a man, meaning what? Eat as a person that you make choices that people can benefit from your decisions, and your decisions don't affect the people that need you in a negative way.
And what it's saying is also is eat what you need, not what you want. Because you have opportunities to gain more things.
Yeah.
But he's like, listen, the Most High constantly, especially when you get to position of leadership.
Yeah.
The question is always need or want. Need or want.
Major question.
And we're always faced with those spiritual, ethical choices in our position, in our job.
But you're
and
not
I've seen
gonna
a
get-
lot of leaders in the past and the present constantly choose the want over the need. Always choose comfort and ease over what's important. Always choose what benefits them over what benefits the body. That's how you can determine what caliber of man you're dealing with. Whether it's in a camp leadership position or it's in an individual man in his home.
Yeah.
Does this person sit back here and make decisions that benefit him
Yep.
despite the body?
Yep.
Because they can? Or do they make decisions for the benefit of the body, and most of the time that means you come last. You don't get extra.
But I have greed. I'm greedy upon my meat. I'm forcing my hand to dish at every opportunity.
And it just shows you the caliber of man that's in front of you.
And I gotta have variety, because then it goes from amount and quantity to looking for different types and variations of the flesh. That's what. That's that surfing.
Because the flesh never is satisfied.
Come.
The flesh is insatiable.
Gone.
So once again, once we get past the law, we're dealing with that insatiable mindset with mankind.
In general.
And I'm telling you,
Yeah.
the Most High tests all of us with a little bit of freedom,
Yeah.
a little bit of opportunity to gain, and he looks at how we deal with the little freedoms we get. And based upon what we do with the little freedoms we get will determine if we're eligible for greater freedoms.
And this is the funny part.
And the key is this. The Most High is always looking at, when you get these extra freedoms, do you sit back here and always choose the needs of the body over the little freedoms?
Yeah.
When I mean little freedoms is what kind of car you buy. Do you buy a car that's enough for you, or do you get excessive to floss? If we're dealing with, we can deal with car purchases, houses, homes. What do you do with when you're in positions to choose the body or yourself? You can look at it on a camp level. You can look at it on a personal, individual level. What good is getting a big ass car if your rib has a bullshit car or is on the bus?
That's stupid.
Then what kind of guy are you? But that's the same concept in a camp. What good is flossing when the men can't get around? It's the same mentality. But the Most High always gives us these little spaces and opportunities and little freedoms to determine, do you go get the freedom, or do you stay in your discipline and just take what you need? And based on your decisions, the Most High really sees what caliber of person you are. And based on your choices will determine if the Most High gives you bigger and greater blessings. This is how it was back in New York back in the day. The Most High sat back here years ago and dealt with the camp, with the elders years ago. And a lot of times the Most High sat back here and there was a time period of prosperity with the elders in New York in the 90s. And the Most High sat back here and really boosted those men up for their work. And the Most High gave them a window of opportunity to do right with the blessings. To determine if they were going to sit back here and use those blessings to benefit the body and reinvest back into the work, or take that blessing and use it for them. And what did they do? They used it for them. And then they wondered, all of them wondered why everything dried up. Because the Most High gives you 1 or 2 shots to determine what you do with the resources and the blessings that you get. And if you choose selfish, He don't give you those blessings no more. He dries up your opportunities, whether it's in a camp setting or in individual men setting. So when you get the chance to get freedom, blessings, a large table in front of you, He's like, don't sit back here and be a nigger at the table and just take everything for yourself. Use it and reinvest into your household, the people who love you, people who need, or the men in the camp who need. This, we're trying to show how to stay in good graces with the Heavenly Father and how to always put yourself in a position to keep getting blessed. The Most High said in that verse in Ecclesiastes 37, that if we sat back here and went against that surfeiting spirit, He'd prolong your life, right? So if we go against that surfeiting spirit in the spirit, He'll prolong our spiritual life. He'll keep blessing us in our lives. But you still have to continue being a life of discipline and denial of your flesh and your desires if you want the Most High to continue to honor the work of your hands. Where are we at?
16. Yeah, 16.
We're going to go to verse 19, sir.
God. A very little is...
No, verse 16. I said we're going to 19.
Okay. Come. Eat as it becometh a man those things which are set before thee, and devour not.
Devour not. Read on.
Major right there.
Lest thou be hated.
And a lot of our people, when they get the opportunity to have a big table in front of them, they try to devour all of it. Because you know what the crazy thing is? You don't know where you're at until you have the opportunity for success.
And that's every man the truth deals with that.
Yes.
You come in, I come with nothing.
The Most High builds you up.
You get built up, and then now when you're built up, now who are you when you have opportunity? Who are you when you have skills?
Are you still a servant?
Yeah.
Do you still put yourself last?
Come.
Or do you sit back here and once you got the opportunity to come up and make it about you, that's the first thing you do? This is the Most High sees what kind of man you are.
Yes.
That's why he says, eat as it becomes a man. Eat what you need. And devour not, lest thou be hated. Because a lot of other people need too. And if you devour all the resources, you put everybody else in bad situations. And you wonder why you're hated. Because you made a self-play versus putting the body first. Read on.
Leave off first for manners' sake.
He said leave off the excess so that other people can have for consideration of others. Stop just making it about you. That's part of being a lion in your own house. You're just taking and roaring and raging and making sure you get what you want and not what the body needs.
It kills me to have to say. Remember, Scripture says that I cry at every occasion. Because when you can't have what you want, that sorrow comes on.
God.
When I can't get my time, sorrow. When I keep feeding my flesh, sorrow. Then I'm the cholera. We said cholera. Yeah. It says angry and bitter. So when a person has cholera, they have a bunch of chemicals in their body that release that makes them emotionally fluctuate. So I can't get what I want. I can't have what I'm used to having. I can't feast upon me like I'm used to doing. Then I go through what? The bipolar, excessive depression, and happiness scale.
Every person, every leader from the time in New York up that I've seen fall apart got to the point where suffering and sacrifice, they were tired of it. They were tired of putting themselves last. And everyone that took that mentality of being tired of being put last, they all end up falling. What we're reading in Ecclesiastes 31 is when you get the opportunity to come up, still choose that servant mode.
Yeah.
When you get the opportunity to finally rise from being a servant, never lose the ability to be the servant. If you can maintain that servitude mindset, you can maintain your potency, one, and you can maintain the ability for the Most High to keep blessing the work of your hand.
But now,
because the Most High is still trying to find out when you get blessings, how are you going to allocate your blessings? Do your blessings benefit you, or does your blessings benefit the work of your hands? What's more important in your life?
Yeah.
So based on how you eat on your table shows you where you're at as a man. Is it about you or is it really about the work? If it's about you, you're going to take your time and you're going to come up. If it's about the body always gets reinvested into. That's how you can determine where a man's heart is. As a young student, as a young brother, that's the telltale sign. If you're choosing you, you know that means your table is going to be awfully hefty and everybody else's table is going to be very thin. That's how you know what leader you got in your school. But let's continue.
And be not unsatiable, lest thou offend.
He says it goes back into that being unsatiable. Listen, when you're unsatiable, when your appetites can't be controlled, that's how you offend your people around you. When you can't control your desires, now all of a sudden your people get affected. The people who depend on your strength.
My practices.
Yes.
My practices of greed offend the people that are dependent on my decision making. Because it's about, I look for every occasion. Upon every occasion that I cries. Upon every occasion, it's about my appetite.
Good. So let's keep going.
When thou sittest among many, reach not thine hand out first of all.
It still goes back into the mindset of when you have opportunities.
Don't put yourself first.
Don't put yourself first.
Yeah.
When you have the opportunity to come up, make sure other people have what they need. Then you sit back here and make sure you're good to go. This is how you overcome that insatiable spirit that's in each and every one of us. This is why in Ecclesiastes 37 it says you have to prove yourself in your life and find out where you're insatiable at. Find out where that lack of self-control is and dedicate yourself to starving that insatiable side of you out. If you want to still be able to be used by the Most High to his benefit, long term.
And sustainably long term, because There's periods where you can be in the truth for 10, 20 years. This dynamic does not go away.
Mm-hmm.
The moment it starts to become more about you, the Most High has to diminish you.
These are all facts. These are all facts. And the Most High gives you these little windows of blessings to see what you do with those windows of blessings. If you screw up those windows of blessings, meaning put yourself first, choose you at the table before choosing what the body needs, that table starts to get thinner and thinner and thinner over time.
And men don't understand why.
But now we do.
And men think, okay, I just have to look at this because I'm a soldier right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have to live like
and that's
this.
the thing.
That's a lie, bro.
People think
That's a
that
lie.
you're just, because you are low rank, you have to kind of eat crow and put yourself last.
Because I'm low rank.
The greatest amongst you.
I get it.
The scripture says the greatest amongst you has to be the greatest servant.
Yep.
So whether you're at the bottom of the totem pole or the top, if you lose the ability to be a servant, then you lose the ability to be used by the Most High. And the Most High goes to somebody else to work with them.
No matter what rank you are. Because brothers are thinking, brothers in the back of their mind are thinking it's just a number thing, a rank thing, a totem pole thing. Well, I'm on a high totem pole now, so now I can really be me.
God.
It was never about that.
Yeah.
How you were on the bottom is how you have to be on the top.
It's the truth. So, where are we at?
19.
Read on.
A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured.
There you go. A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured. When it says well nurtured, that means spiritually nurtured. Because why do men have to have the flashiest outfits and the biggest cars and the best look? Because they're insecure on the inside. So if you're well nurtured spiritually inside of you, then guess what happens? Very little is sufficient for that person. Why do I need to have all this fancy stuff if I'm secure in myself and what I do for the Most High every day? A lot of how people carry themselves on the outside is evident of what's inside of a person's spirit.
Yeah.
So he's saying if you're well nurtured in your spirit, if you're in the book, if you're grounded in the scriptures, then you don't need all that outside fluff. It's easier to, when you get the opportunity to gorge yourself on the table, not to feed it if you're already nurtured by the spiritual paths that you've chosen.
But what men do is they gotta I gotta balance this out game.
Yeah.
That is the game of, you know what? I'm not content in the work. When it's not about me, I'm not content. When it's not about me shining, I'm not content. When I'm not getting ranked up, I'm not content. When I'm not getting the glory, quote unquote glory, whatever you think the glory is, you're not happy. When your appetite is not being satiated, I'm not. That's when we get the conversations of I'm not content.
Mm-hmm.
Then you hear about all these household stories going on. Well, why was he crazy in the house? He wasn't content. Why brothers can't get along at the job? I'm not content. Why I buck up with my elders and buck up with teachers and talk crazy? Oh, I know why you're talking crazy, bro. Yeah. I know why you're smart and you're funny. You got little smart things to say. Because you weren't content in the first place.
You're not happy, bro.
It has nothing to do with this situation.
Yeah.
Brothers blame situations. They blame the sun. They blame the rain. They blame how cold it is. They blame the tone of
weather,
voice.
Bro.
They had too much bass in his voice.
Damn weather.
They blame the customers.
Yeah.
No, you weren't content because you were hungry in the first place.
Exactly. And then it's crazy but how the Most High really reveals that you weren't content.
Yeah.
Is when you have an opportunity to get what you want in the flesh.
God.
And it's presented right in front of you.
God.
And what do you do with it? Do you stay disciplined and just keep choosing just what you need, or you sit back here and gorge yourself? And that's when the Spirit says, see, it wasn't about the work. It was about the reward.
That's the wolf right
You just
there.
wanted the reward. Because as soon as you got an opportunity to get a reward, you took it.
Yeah. What's the wolf known for? The wolf is known for an excessive greed upon whatever he's trying to dine on.
That cunning wolf is one that waits for the right time to pounce. But the Most High is also waiting to see how you react when you get a little bit of opportunity. And if you show that card, you pull that self-interest card, the Most High, I'm never going to give him that again. He'll never get this rate of blessing. It's going to always be less than this, because really deep down, it ain't about the work, it's about the reward.
So guys, this. So are you saying, Award, this is why men dwell in spiritual poverty?
Yes.
Because men love to say, well, you're in the truth, you don't come up. No, you don't come up.
Yes.
Because you're a wolf.
Yes.
Oh, there ain't no blessings over here. I know why there's no blessings over here.
Yep.
For you?
Yep.
That's a blessing for the guy that's content.
But that's the point. The blessings are there for the people who actually know what a blessing is.
Because the men say, well,
Because there's a lot of times there's blessings right in front of you,
Yeah.
and you keep out in the streets looking for a blessing, but the blessing's looking at you right in the face.
you had a blessing, but you know what?
You blow it off.
I listen, because it didn't feed my stomach or my
Exactly.
belly,
Yep.
my appetite. And then it wasn't the flavors I wanted. 'Cause I wanted more flavors added to it. I wanted different textures added to it. I wanted it smoked. I wanted it seared. I wanted
I want
baked.
monosodium glutamate.
Yeah.
I want some MSG in
I
this
want
damn
some-
thing.
I want
This ain't
some-
tasty enough.
I want it sweet.
I
I
didn't
want
get
it
high
sour.
with
I
that
want it
food.
hot.
I didn't get high with that food.
God,
Give me some of that Japanese MSG.
Yeah. God, I need to really.
Because that's how
God.
the Japanese made MSG when they were trying to sit back here and make the MREs taste good.
Yeah.
They had to sit back and find a way to make dead food tasty for the soldiers.
Huh.
So they put the MSG in it. They were like, kamikaze! They were ready to sit back and kill people because the food was good now. The point is, they used that concept in all the food in America.
They blew up in the malls.
They blew up. What are we trying to explain? Our people be pursuing the flesh, and he's trying to show us if we don't show that discipline and constraint, then our opportunities for blessings down the line get kind of like controlled. But let's get more.
It's not just about the constraint though. It's about, am I happy in the constraint?
Yeah. And because read verse 19 again, it proves that. Read that. Verse 19.
And very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured.
Very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured. Because the question is, I would have to ask myself is how come what I have is not enough? Why do I have to keep going out for more? How come I'm not nurtured? What is it in me flesh-wise that what the Most High has given me isn't satisfying me? Why isn't that enough? And if I was looking at things the right way, I would start attacking that part of me that can't find happiness in what the Most High has already given me. He said, very little to make a man that's well nurtured be sufficient and satisfied. Read on.
And he fetcheth not his wind short upon his bed.
And that person, that person who overeats. He says that person who overeats and is overindulgent, he's always has short of wind, getting off his bed. He's always going to be tired, exhausted, because he's eating too much and he has no way to sustain his body and his flesh. So let that verse go, and we're going to jump
I don't
to
have energy for the work.
because I've engorged myself.
Yeah, I've engorged myself. I have no energy for the actual Most High's work.
Yep.
I only have energy for my personal pursuits.
Yep. So 2nd Esdras, chapter 5, verse 1 through 3 and verse 10. So all this excessiveness that we battle with, all this overindulgence that we battle with is a product of society, a product of the world. Now we know these things are already in us, but the world feeds and highlights and amplifies that excessiveness in us. Read on.
2nd Ezra chapter 5, verse 1. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens.
So listen, the tokens are talking about signs. It's just said in a different way. Read on.
Behold, the days shall come.
So he's talking about, nevertheless, the signs that are to come. The signs in the end of these days are going to come. Read on.
That they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden.
And we're already seeing that in these end times, the way of truth is hidden. And people are going to be taken in great number. What does that mean? People are taken in great number by the lies, by the propaganda, by how society teaches and advertises. We're taken by our lust. We're taken by our insatiable attitude. There's 1,001 distractions all around us. Everything out here is set up to distract us and take us away from serving the Most High.
And what makes them is you can't teach them.
Yep.
You can't. That's how you know a person's taken. A person's mentally destroyed because you can't guide them.
Because there's so many things pulling on their spirit.
God.
That's why they can't be guided. Read on.
And the land shall be barren of faith.
The land is barren of
Of
spiritual properties.
Exactly.
There's no spiritual development going on.
This is how you know these are tokens or signs of the end. The world's going to be barren of faith. Listen, this whole world is a godless society.
Yeah.
Everything, all the advertising and propaganda and the spirit is out here is about detaching yourself from the Heavenly Father
And feeding your appetite.
and feeding your appetites. And these are tokens that you're in the end times. These are signs that you're in the end times. Read on.
Verse 2. But iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou
He
seest.
says iniquity is going to be increased way above the time of Ezra, way above the time of the Babylonian fall and our ascension back to our land. He says, man, so that's going to be way worse than this. Read on.
People are going to be more extreme than they are now.
And more detached from living a spiritual life. Read on.
Or that thou hast heard long ago.
Mm-hmm. He says, so it's going to be worse than the present time, or it's going to be worse than the time of Noah.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
It's going to be worse than that.
Yeah.
Read on.
And the land that thou seest now to have root, shalt thou see wasted suddenly.
He says the land shall be wasted. I don't know if you've seen the Euphrates. The Euphrates River is completely dried up.
So,
I don't know if you noticed that. Like 10 years ago, it was flowing.
yeah.
Now it's barely any water there. He says the land of Israel is going to be barren waste in the end times. That's another token that the end's coming. The land that you're standing in, Israel, is going to be barren. This is going to be dust.
Desolate.
Desolate. It ain't going to be fertile and producive and productive like it once was.
And this is called the Fertile Crescent.
God. And it ain't so fertile anymore.
Yeah.
But now jump to verse 10.
2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 10. And shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency
Incontinency.
Incontinent, yeah.
incontinency be multiplied on the earth.
So he says unrighteousness and incontinence. Look up incontinence.
Incontinence. Want of restraint of the passions or appetites.
He's telling you one of the signs of the end is that everybody is going to have no control over their passions and their desires and their appetites. And now we're going to start going into the fact that these passions and appetites aren't just food related. Read on.
Free or uncontrolled indulgence of the passions or appetites, as of anger.
So now it's like men now have no control over their anger,
Emotions.
have no control over their emotions, have no control over their mindset.
This ain't
So
me
there's
then.
incontinency in you're emotionally incontinent. And let's get the second one.
Second definition. Want of restraint of the sexual appetite.
He's telling you also incontinency is these end times are a sign that men just can't control their lust. Women can't control their lust, their desires. Read on.
Free or illegal indulgence of lust.
He says, listen, lust is just rampant. Lust is out of control, whether it's the free way or the illegal way.
Yeah.
He's telling you this is signs of the end. But it's that lack of control. It's the lack of controlling your anger, your emotions, your lust, your feelings. Read on.
Lewdness. Use of either sex.
Either sex has no control over their lust. Read on.
But appropriately of the male
He
sex.
says appropriately, this is talking about males that can't control their lust. Read on.
Incontinence in men is the same as unchastity in women.
Incontinence in men is the same as whoredom in women. What it's saying is the men just have no control over their lust, no control over their passion. Where everywhere they go, they just got to get what they want when they want it. Read on, verse number 3. No, I don't want number 3. I don't want number 3. We're going to deal with those two. But he says we're going into now in these latter times lack of control of emotions and lust and the flesh. Okay.
I got the point real quick.
Yes.
This is right here. No, it's number 3. I'm gonna hit the point correctly, I promise.
Okay.
It says, among physicians, the inability of any animal organs to restrain discharges in their contents. We always see incontinency. You go to the grocery store or Walmart and you see what it says. You got to wear diapers, adult diapers, because you can't control the feces or the urination, right?
Okay.
But also with people, they can't control out their mouth.
Yeah.
They can't control how they affect people.
Yeah.
You're around people and it's always an argument.
Yeah.
You're around people and it's always something negative being said. You can't just go a day without offending people.
Okay.
It's always a spirit that's on you that has to be projected onto other people. I don't feel good about me, I'll make you not feel good about you.
Yeah.
I'm angry, I want you to be angry. I'm sad, I'm going to make you sad. I'm pissed, I'm going to make you pissed. It's the spirit. Whatever's on me, I have to I can't control it. So I got to push that energy on other people.
That's that
Projecting.
incontinency of anger and emotion. Huh. So listen, we're gonna keep this going because this next verse lines right into this point. So we're gonna go to Luke chapter 21, verse 34 through 36. Luke chapter 21, verse 34 through 36. Let me get it in my real Bible. Stop just using it.
The electric screens.
I'm talking about electric screens last class.
I
And
love
I'm
them
all
too.
on
I love
electric screens. It's easy. I don't got to flip pages. This is me being a lazy, you know what. Luke 21, verse 34 through 36. Parchment is better. Okay, read that.
God. Luke 21, verse 34. And take heed to yourself.
Do what?
He says, take heed to yourself, just like in Ecclesiastes 34, or not 34, but 37, it says, prove yourselves, right? In your own life.
Yeah.
Read on.
And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your heart...
Stop. He says, no, Christ is like, take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your heart, meaning your mind, take heed to yourself to make sure that your mind be what?
Lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with overcharged with surfeiting.
Now we're going into surfeiting from your mind. Because you got to stay on top of your spirit to make sure this surfeiting doesn't overcharge your mind.
Now, what is overcharging the mind?
Let's go. Well, I don't have really overcharges.
Well, I was thinking a question.
Oh no! Just tell me. Break it down for me. Yeah, overcharge. So I just want to make sure I'm clarifying the point. Christ is like, you better stay on top of yourself unless you're overcharged in your mind through surfeiting. Now, we read about earlier in class that the surfeiting was in the dainties and the being insatiable with the meats and the food and all that flesh, right?
Yeah.
Now we're going into the surfeiting of the mind.
Yeah.
What you going to say?
So when a person's overcharged their mind, what do? I can't stop crying. I can't stop thinking. I can't stop. My mind keeps bouncing in the conversation. We're talking about dogs, Zach, and you're talking about tarantulas and talking about cockroaches and talking about what you did last week. We can't stay on the subject. It's like what we were talking about in class about when he was young. He put his mind on one topic, one brother driving home. If your mind keeps bouncing and jumping, that's a telltale sign that you're dealing with what? Your mind's overcharged. If you can't focus on one topic, that's the whole purpose of why they have TikTok. 15, they know that you can't focus past 15 seconds. Because your mind's supercharged. That's why your algorithm, there's 15 topics within your feed. Why are there 15 different topics popping up on your feed? Because you know you can't focus on one topic for an extended period of time. That's why music changed. You went from classical music to where you can hear a whole 30-minute song and totally being great and connected to every element of that song.
For instance, jazz. I don't know if you ever seen old jazz albums.
Yeah.
Old jazz albums, there was like 3 songs in the whole album. But at first, this is bullshit.
Yeah, 3 songs.
Bullshit deal. 3 songs, but each song is like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So you got a whole hour of music.
Yeah.
But you got to sit and listen to 25 minutes of one song. Songs average 2.5 minutes now at best. 2 minutes and 25 little babies in and out.
It's like a minute 45.
Or even that. Listen, 2 minutes, 2:20. I think I've seen 2:25, 2:15 is the average. You get a couple bars, a little chorus, a little hype, you're out of there.
Yeah.
That's it. 2 minutes versus 25 minutes. People don't have the attention span to go through every guy's instrument solo. Because you go through the songs, then you go through the instrument solos, and all of a sudden you got the bass,
I'm tired. Next song.
You got the guitar. Oh, this is boring. I want to hear what's the next song.
That's enough. What's up? Let me hear a whole different feeling. I want a whole different feeling. Give me a different feeling. Look, Jimi Hendrix is playing like for 9 minutes.
Yeah.
He was playing for 9 to 10 minutes. He was killing it, bro. Like people like now, okay, next song. Like what happened?
Yep.
It's because people's minds are overcharged. I cannot concentrate on one thing. That's why teaching class has become more of a challenge over the years. But we used to have back in the day, brothers had 4-hour classes.
Classes would be 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes. You get past the 2 hour 15 mark, you're losing guys, man. They're in Planet Xanadu out.
Yeah.
They're in Planet Xanadu, or they're thinking about what they got to do when they get home, or thinking about what's on the sports. They're thinking about they're thinking about some woman. Their mind cannot stay locked in. And this is what being overcharged, and how Christ said we have to take heed, because we're going to be overcharged with surfeiting. What he's saying is we're overcharged in the pursuit of different mental stimulus.
Yeah.
We're overcharged in the pursuit of different things in the flesh. Television. You sit back and look at television. You know how confusing it is now? Not confusing, distracting it is. Apple TV. You got Hulu. You got HBO Max. What else? What else is that? Disney.
Stars.
You got Stars. You got Showtime on demand. It's everything. You got Tubi if you broke, if you cheap. You got Tubi if you cheap. You got all. Was that
Samsung TV?
Listen, you got all kind of distractions. Then you got regular cable. Then you got YouTube, which is just nothing but distractions. There's always something out there to take you from what? Studying the scriptures, staying spiritually strong. Then you got novellas. You got television shows. You got all these. You got all this anime. That damn 15-minute demon.
Yeah.
100 shows, like 15 minutes a time. All we're saying is what Christ is saying. He's going to actually go into how it's a future prophecy. It's a snare. All of being overcharged with this surfeiting, with this the fleshly pulls, with all these different distractions. Read verse 34 again.
God. Luke 21:34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your
Pay
hearts.
attention to yourself. People don't even do that.
Because you know they just caught that we get tossed from one emotion to another, one marketing campaign on TV to another.
Yeah.
Then we just get tossed from one impulse to another, and Christ like, be careful that this impulse doesn't take you all these different
It
directions.
shouldn't be normalized.
God. Read on.
Take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness.
And drunkenness is being under the influence. Make sure you're not under the influence of different distractions that are coming for your spirit. Read
You gotta
on.
be faded all the time, man.
Read on.
And cares of this
The
life.
root of the surfeiting is the cares of this life. There's different pulls that take your heart and your focus away from pleasing Him.
Because it's about what I care about, what I feel,
My deity,
appetite.
whatever I'm into. Yes, I.
It's also like looking for like that hit, that stimulation. Like
It's all about the stimulation.
I'm looking for
All those stimulating pursuits take you away from locking your mind down
to the Lord.
and learn the book. All those stimulations keep you from locking your mind down and studying and staying strong. Not just studying, but staying potent, staying fixated on one thing. Listen, concentration is so important in regards to keeping your spirit strong. If you can't control the influx of thoughts and emotions and stimuli that hit you, you're not going to be able to sit back here and stay on point. If every few minutes you get another thought, an emotion, or impulse pulling you, how can you sit back here and stay in a strong spiritual frame of mind? It's damn near impossible. But let's keep going. There's more to this. Let's keep going.
And cares of this life. And so that day come upon you unaware.
He says that if you're not focused, that day is going to come upon you unawares, where you're not ready for His arrival. Because you're so caught up into your life. You won't be ready when He comes back. Read on.
For as a snare shall it come on all of them that dwell on the face of the whole
It
earth.
says, what's that snare, right? That snare is all these distractions that are presented in front of you. Like we read about the prince of the power of the air, which has got all these distractions out here to take our mind and heart away from the Most High. Read on.
Watch ye therefore, and pray always.
He says you better pray and watch and stay in the book at all times to keep you away from those distractions. You're watching for the signs of the times to know when it's time for Christ to come. That's what watching is. You're watching for all these things in the scriptures coming to pass on earth. Like we just read in 2 Ezra 5. He's letting you know right there in 2 Ezra 5 what's about to happen. What's about to happen on earth. He's supposed to watch for all of these prophecies that are about to be fulfilled. So you can sit back and know, hey, it's coming. Christ is coming. I better lock my mind down. He said, watch and pray to stay on top of your spirit so that you don't fall apart and break down. Read on.
Watch therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass.
He says we better sit back here and fight our tail off so that we're counted worthy to escape. Because all of these distractions are gunning for all of our souls. And you're only going to escape if the Most High sees that you fought enough to escape it. Because you better pray and ask the Most High that He sits back and finds your work sufficient to escape these snares that are waiting out for you. And as teachers, our job is to continue to warn everybody that these snares are prevalent and they're out there to get us.
Because they get in the way of the work of the Most High.
Exactly.
That's the real problem.
We think because we're in the truth, we got it. That's not enough. How clear is our mind in the truth? How distraction free are we in the truth?
What caliber of spirit you have while you're serving?
How many pulls are still a real thing and a real problem for you? Will determine if we've escaped the snares. What is a snare but a trap? How many of these lusts that are still pulling on us that are traps for us are we still wrestling with by the time Christ comes back? This is what He's looking at.
And this is what.
How many dainties are still that you have a proclivity to that you haven't gotten rid of?
And this
by the time Christ comes back. I'm sorry.
No, and this is why brothers fell in the wilderness.
Brothers
fell in the wilderness because they had a proclivity towards their sensation, whether it be just leeks and onions, something simple like that. What did leeks and onion represent? It's just what's your way, your desire, how you want to have it. A table in the wilderness came first. A table.
Yep.
Your desire for a table was more important than the Most High's pleasure. Your desire for onions and leeks was more important than the Most High's pleasure. Your desire for meat, even though you're being full, you were being filled with manna, corn from heaven, bread from heaven, but it wasn't good enough because it didn't fit your palate. The wilderness was about Israel couldn't let go of their personal palate. Their palate was in front of the work. Their palate was in front of the service of the Most High. And it's the same way now.
And we're going to go into this next situation to explain another reason why we have to eliminate that overcharge surfeiting, the overcharge indulgence in our meats or flesh or things that weaken us. We're going to go into why it's so important to eliminate as much of the flesh as possible. Now we're going to go into the Basilicon Durant.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to page 103 and 104, and it's going to go into, it's King James talking to his son about what it takes to lead, be a good leader of men, a great leader and a great king to your people. Okay, it's not going to be a whole lot of reading, but I think when I read it today, I thought it was very important that we go into it. So, Basilicon Durant, page 103, it says, as he cannot be thought worthy to rule and command others that cannot rule with Dalton. I'm sorry. As he cannot be thought worthy to rule and command others that cannot rule, and Daunton, Daunton, which means subdue. Okay, so and subdue his own proper affections.
Wow.
And unreasonable appetites.
Wow.
So can he not be thought worthy to govern a Christian people, knowing and fearing the Most High, that in his own person and heart feareth not and loveth not the divine majesty. So what his father, King James, was telling his son is, listen, man, if you can't control and subdue your own lust, if you can't control and subdue your own appetites, then you're not worthy to lead a Christian people or a biblical following people. So this is another reason why we have to subdue all of these lusts and all of these passions. It's because, listen, if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to sit back here and be justified to lead your people, teaching them that they have to subdue their passions and their appetites. Does that make sense? And then there's another one. Like I said, I'm not going to make a whole class on this point, but this point was even hit harder. It said, but above all, beware, ye rest not the word to your own appetite, as over men do.
Crazy, bro.
Over many, as over many do. I'm gonna say it again. But above all, beware ye rest not the word to your own appetite.
That's crazy.
As over many do. Because this is what people do. Based on your appetite and your flesh, your judgment starts to cater to people that have the same fleshly appetites that you do. So you'll be light on people who have the same negative you got, but you're harsh on people that don't have the same negative that you got.
Preference?
It makes you,
I got preference.
it makes you an unjust leader. So when we're reading about resting judgment in Deuteronomy chapter 16 and 19, read that real quick. Deuteronomy 16, Elisha, read this. Deuteronomy 16 and 19.
Deuteronomy 16 and verse 19.
19.
Yeah.
Thou shalt not rest judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons.
So listen, when Moses is like, don't rest judgment, part of resting judgment is twisting judgment. But you're twisting judgment based on your appetites. So if I'm weak to women, and I have a brother that's weak to women, then my counsel is going to be soft on a man that's weak to women. Now there's another person that has a slothful issue, but I don't have the issue with slothfulness. I'm gonna sit back and judge him right.
Well, it doesn't bother me because I have a benefit from this guy that's slothful. So if he's slothful, it doesn't benefit me, so I'm gonna attack that.
And that's the thing. So he's saying for all these appetites and fleshly weaknesses that you don't fix in you, you're going to be soft on a person who's got identical weaknesses to you, and which doesn't justify you to be a leader of your people. So if any of us have aspirations to lead a camp, or even if you want to be a just leader in your own home, then you have to sit back and eliminate your appetites so you can justly correct across the board the right way.
Are you saying that happens subconsciously too? Like we may not be aware that we're being.
It's just naturally. If you're weak to something and another person's weak to it, it's hard to sit back here and properly deal with a person's weakness like that, because it's just like your shit. If you want to be a good leader, then you better sit back and stay on top of all the stuff in you, because you're going to be light with some people. You're going to be impartial. You're going to be fair with some people and unfair with others. And you're going to be lax on other people. You're not going to be a just judge. So I'm going to read this part again in the Basilicon. It said, but above all, beware ye rest not the word to your own appetite, as over many do. Like a lot of people have a problem with this. Making it like a bell to sound as ye please to interpret. Meaning, based upon what benefits you and how you want to interpret it, will be based upon your weakness in the flesh. Yes, sir?
So the whole term of wrong is wrong don't apply to that?
What do you mean?
Wrong is wrong. Like you saying both of them have that same weakness, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if he recognized that he's wrong?
But you know what? What he's saying is, the fire and correction that comes from you ain't gonna be the same as correcting a person that you're vehemently against. There's certain things you're just anti, and you're not gonna tolerate that shit. Like you could be heavy against disrespect, because all through your life you understood you understood respect was important. So a person who's disrespectful, you're gonna roar on these guys because they're disrespectful. But when it comes to lust, I was weak in lust too. So you ain't supposed to do that. You got to stop that. But the person that's disrespectful, you roll on their ass, and you're giving them a just correction for their disrespect. But on the lust, you're not going to hit them with the same fire, because that's your weak shit.
Because I can relate to it.
Because I can relate to it. That happens all the time in leadership.
I can relate, bro. It's all good.
And this is what is being said to his son. Listen, man. You got to eliminate all these appetites so you can be a just judge and not rest judgment. Because a lot of people rest judgment based on what they're weak in. Yes, sis?
So what's the proper thing to
you as a leader know that that is something that you are struggling with, is it proper to just hand that person off to someone else who you know does not have that same issue? You know what I'm saying? You have to be like very conscious of your shortcoming, and then be humble enough to want that person to have proper judgment. So you either have to really work on yourself or pass them off to somebody else.
Yes, but both of those answers correct.
Okay.
But the best way is to fix yourself. Because the scripture says, always seek the preeminence. But the preeminence, what justifies us in this position, is how many things you've worked on yourself. If I sit back and eliminate these issues, then I stay justified. This is what keeps the quote-unquote fire under our ass. The fire should stay lit under us, because if I have to keep the pressure on me to keep changing, to justify the correction that I'm laying down with the people. Because I can be sitting back here cutting people in class, but the Bible is two-edged. It's cutting me too. I better fix this. I gotta fix this.
Or it's over.
Or you know what? I'm gonna get stung too. That's the mindset. That's the pressure that should be on us in this position. So while brothers are young, this is why you got to work on what's inside of you now, to be justified when you become judges, when you become leaders. Because if you're not on top of you, then you're sitting back here and you're resting judgment based on your appetites, based on what you're okay with in the flesh and what you're not okay with in the flesh. You can't operate that way and be justified in the eyes of the Most High in Christ. Do y'all understand? Does that make sense? I'm going to read that point again, and then we'll move on to class. But above all, beware ye rest not the word to your own appetite, as over many do, making it like a bell to sound, as ye please to interpret. But by the contrary, frame all of your affections to follow precisely the rule there set down. And if we can sit back and operate like that, then we'll stay on point with the Heavenly Father. Okay? So, we're going to let that verse go and go to Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, chapter 18. Verse 19. To my hand?
Yeah, my bad. I just have one question. Can you tell me the name of that book one more time?
Basilicon Duran. Really, when you read the book, you realize that, you know, all those lies that about King James being this sodomite, I guess, it's not even true, bro. This guy is sitting back here and trying to teach his son the right way to live, and he's pulling scriptures. Everything is in the scriptures. Everything's about not being a hypocrite,
on every level,
leading from the front. This guy was anti the Catholic Church because he said they were anti the Most High. They were anti the scriptures. They weren't living what they were saying. This guy was really about the book. And when you listen to this, you understand why the Most High allowed the Bible to be translated under his watch. You really understand it. Most High put a spirit in this man to sit back and to translate the book the right way it's supposed to be translated. He didn't sit back and change it. It was translated. But you understand why during his reign, it was when it was translated. You can see it in his writing. Okay? But, like I said, Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 9, and the Apocrypha. Did I say 18? 18. Yeah, it's 18. I put 10 on the damn screen.
18 and 19.
Yeah, 18 and 9. 18 and 9 in Ecclesiasticus.
Let me know when you're ready.
18. Is it 18 and 9? It is 19. I'm tripping, bro. I'm asking. You're right, sir. My bad. I'm being a bad guy right now. Ecclesiastes 18 and 19.
Ecclesiastes chapter 18. Verse 19 reads.
So listen, before we even go into this verse breaks down the title of the class, which is Use Physique or Ever Thou Be Sick. Now, we read about how surfeiting in the flesh is what we're supposed to be attacking. Overindulgence in meats overindulgence in the flesh, overindulgence in the dainties that we're into, the things that we like. How the Most High said we're not supposed to do it. Because in the overindulgence of meats, we're, what did he say about the stomach or the system?
Surfeiting.
No, it's surfeiting.
It increases
dysfunction of
chlor,
the system.
It's a dysfunction. It's not dysfunctioning, but it's close to this. Deranged. It's deranging the system. When we overeat, we overindulge in the flesh and in the spirit, we derange either it's the fleshly system or the spiritual system. When we're surfeiting in the flesh, the spirit, we're sitting back here and overloading our mind with a lot of negativity. When you're having a lot of negative, you're watching, like I said, Instagram, all the crazy distractions, it's hard to unclutter or underrange your mind when you got so much filth going into your mind. Okay? So what we're reading now is the solution to being overwhelmed with meats, overcharged and deranged in the mind. So read that.
Come. Ecclesiastes chapter 18, verse 19 reads.
This is disarranged. Deranged means disarranged.
We're done?
Learn before thou speak, and use physique, or ever thou be sick.
Years ago, you would just read this in face value and think that using physique, or ever thou be sick. I mean, you got to go to the gym.
Yeah.
You got to work out. You got to run. You got to sweat. You got to heat these weights, or you're going to be sick, dog. You're going to be sick. That's what was taught back in the day. That's what I heard. But a lot of brothers didn't use the 1828 Act. So go and find physique without the K. You're not going to find the K in the dictionary. So go find PHYSIC. Let's find that. I want number 1 through 3, and then number 1 in the verb tense. So all of them.
Physique. The art of healing diseases.
So listen, the real definition of physique is the art of healing diseases. The diseases that come from a deranged system that's overcharged or overflux with sugars, meats, too much starch, too much of all the indulgences we're into in the flesh or in the spirit. So it says use the art of healing diseases or ever you'll be sick. Now we're going to find out what are the elements of the healing of these diseases. Read on.
This is now generally called medicine.
So use medicine or you'll always be sick. But what is the medicine? Read on.
Point number 2. Medicines. Remedies for diseases. We desire physic only for the sake of health.
Now give me number 3. This is the one that starts to get a little more specific with the type of disease, the type of herbs, or the type of healing needed to purge and heal the body. Read on.
Point number 3. In popular language, a medicine that purges. A purge.
I don't know if you ever watched like Batman, the first one. This town needs an enema.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, that was it. It was a great line. But the point is this. What he's saying is, use physique wherever thou be sick, is finding, on a physical level, finding herbs that flush out the system. If you don't purge the system, if you don't get all of the excess out of your system, you're going to always be sick. So the answer and the solution is to keep purging out the negative. We talked about it last week about eliminating those sources that keep feeding that deranged mind. Eliminating the social media. Eliminating all the television. Eliminating all the music. If you're proving your soul, you'll know that certain music puts you in the wrong spirit. If you're proving your spirit, you know certain social media takes your mind the wrong way. Then cut off those sources and purge. Are we willing to purge that sickness and that weakness that's inside of us? Whether it's meats, we talked about it. If I can't flush out, then I need to do what? I need herbs. I need intermittent fasting. I need to cut down on my meat intake. I have to discipline myself if I don't want to continue to be sick. The answer to these questions is more discipline. And a purging process. Listen, the first thing is to purge The second thing is after you purge, can I cut down on everything I tap into? That is the key. That's the answer.
Very little is sufficient to one who is well nurtured.
So I have to cut off all these arenas that weaken me, and then I got to sit back and get comfortable with smaller amounts of the things that I like. And then can I be happy and content with having small things? The question will be that I got to keep attacking in myself scripturally is, how come just having a little bit of this isn't enough? How come sitting back here and just having only so much meats or dainties, how come that's not enough? What's that?
In the spiritual sense, does that mean that that man is self-sufficient? Like, he may not, so would this person not require as much counsel as someone else? When you say, when the scripture talks about this person, a very little is sufficient, so this man is self-sustaining in the spirit?
No, well, you know what that person has learned to do is stay on top of themselves. Through scriptures, through counsel, through fighting battles, through all the ups and downs and the proving of your soul. Have you learned to get control over those urges?
I never looked at it from a spiritual perspective. It was always the physical and the spiritual.
We see, and that was why Luke 24:21 was such a hard-hitting scripture, because Christ was saying that surfeiting is in the heart. There's surfeiting in the mind on top of surfeiting in the flesh. And we're going to sit back here now when it's using physique wherever thou be sick. We have to use purging elements or you're going to keep being sick. Last week we talked about eliminating all those outside influences. On top of the outside influences, we have to purge what's inside anyway. You have to purge the mind, purge the spirit, purge the flesh, get all that stuff that's deranging your system out of your system, out of your gut and out of your mind. And then once you get all that stuff out and flush it through medicines, which is the scriptures, and through literal herbs, then the challenge is to make sure you don't keep overeating and overconsuming to get you sick again. Does that make sense? What are you gonna say though, yeah?
It's cool. It's cool. It's a time thing. I'm cool.
What was that?
Well, it goes into about eating a little honey, but
okay.
Proverbs 27:7. Real fast. Proverbs 27 verse 7.
Proverbs 27 and 7.
Yeah.
Proverbs chapter 27, verse 7. It says, "The full soul loatheth an honeycomb."
Yeah, so a full soul loatheth a honeycomb. A honeycomb is just something sweet. Honey is healthy. But it's talking about actual honey?
No.
Read on.
It says, "But to the hungry soul, every bitter thing is sweet."
Listen, bro, I started going into constant indulgence, and it's because I got bitterness in my soul. If a little bit's not good enough for me, then I'm indulging because there's bitterness in me. I'm pleasure surfing. I'm surfing to balance myself out. I need this meat because I have emotional problems. I need this lust because I have emotional problems. I need this sleep because I have emotional problems. The excessive eating is the sign of a bitter soul. The extreme meats is a sign of a bitter soul. It's a sign of bitterness inside of a man. Now go to Psalms 131 verse 2. I haven't learned to control my internal bitterness, so I mask my bitterness with the pursuance of different indulgences.
Psalms
131 verse 2. That's what I was looking for originally. Yeah.
Surely I have behaved and quieted myself.
Surely I have behaved and done what?
Quieted myself.
I've learned how to kill that intense amount of mental discharge going on, or those extreme fluctuations of thoughts. I've quieted my head. I've quieted my mind. I've quieted my appetite. Read on.
As a child that is weaned of his mother.
As a child that's what?
Weaned of his mother.
A child that needs his mother's milk is constantly fighting for that milk. Once a child's weaned, what? I stop fighting for that milk. I stop fighting for my mother's breast.
Right.
What we do is we fight for our comforts.
Yeah.
David's saying right here, I've learned to stop fighting for my comfort. Read on.
My soul is even as a...
And talking about his actual desire for milk is soul. Remember, it says every bitter thing is sweet to a bitter soul. This man's soul is what?
Is weaned as a Salakia. My soul is even as a weaned child.
So it goes from a man looking at a child, as a child looks at his mother's breast, and I gotta have that milk. A baby gotta have milk. And a baby's always fight, even in public. They'll pull the mama's shirt up in public to get to the chi-chi, right? To get to the breast. Because I gotta have my comfort. It's comforting, I need to feed myself, right? But he's saying the soul. He's quieted his soul. He's quieted his mind. He's quieted his appetite to where his spirit is not dominated by the need for excess. I'm not dominated by the need to satiate what I lack, what I need for me. So when you go into the conversation of I'm dealing with, is it too much? What you just brought about earlier, right? You were saying that too much, you gotta have is it the mind that needs to be quieted, right? You were going to that conversation earlier, right?
Like stress.
Yeah, stress, but what were we saying earlier? Exactly. Your wording is earlier.
When you
Does he need counsel, right?
hit, or you talking about the man that is well nurtured? He may not necessarily require all that
counsel. And the war said he knows how to. He has an algorithm. He has a rhythm of controlling himself.
Right.
How do you learn how to quiet your spirit? You learn the things you need to do to maintain your spirit. The things you need to do to keep you from getting to that excessive nature. If I need 10 hours of counsel, that's what I need to go from that to not be into that excessive nature. If I need 3 hours of studying, then I know that's my daily routine to not go into my pursuance of the flesh.
Yeah.
If I need to vent, I know I have to have this in my daily rhythm so I don't go into the wolf man. I'm going to call it the wolf man. The man chasing, devouring, or making it about what he needs his pleasure. The chasing of pleasure is revealing that I have a bitter soul. So David said what? My soul is even like a weaned child. I don't need these meats to please my soul. I don't need the physical, tangible, fleshly. Better than we say, you don't need physical things to fight spiritual battles. We always say that. You don't need these physical things to fight your spiritual battle, because men needed certain physical things for their spiritual battle. It's just showing you haven't quieted your spirit. I haven't learned to control my spirit through spiritual means. We control our spirit through physical means. That's why we eat too much. That's why we sleep too much. That's why we're in pursuit of different women. Constant pursuance of women. It's a sign that I haven't quieted my spirit. That's all I want to bring out. Yeah.
It's crazy. You look at that in like a child perspective. Right. Even children, they call it being overstimulated. So once the child's overstimulated, you got to sit here and put them to bed or try to calm them down and stuff because they're overstimulated. It's called overcharged.
They're overcharged in the script.
Exactly.
But
grown people are overcharged, and that's the crazy.
But you can't put them to sleep though. You can't tell them to sleep.
Exactly. They're going to turn up.
They deal with these problems of like addiction, or they deal with these problems of like stressed all the time, or just different things. Like they need to sit here and give into their comfort more just so they can calm down.
Because they just can't quiet their mind and just lock their mind down and read the book and find comfort there. Because there's too much stimuli in their mind. Their mind is deranged. Their mind is overworked. And then you sit back and you're drinking coffee and all these stimulants.
Up or down.
But then all those stimulants is doing is keeping you overcharged.
Yeah.
And you wonder why you can't quiet down. And then it goes from being overcharged to sleep.
So that's why you
it's turn up to sleep. Exactly. But you still can't find anything to keep your spirit at peace. But that's something that has to be, you have to work through. You have to keep practicing finding peace in having little. That was the verse.
Yeah.
The linchpin was finding peace in having little. How come having little was not enough for you? It was in, I think it was Ecclesiastes 31, right? It was Ecclesiastes 31.
So very little sufficient.
Yeah, very little sufficient. Yeah, it was 31 and 19. A very little was sufficient for a man well nurtured. That's what we should be sitting back here and shooting for. Somebody else, me Proverbs 13 and 25. Proverbs 13 and 25.
Proverbs chapter 13, verse 25 reads, The righteous eateth to the satisfying of his soul.
Yeah.
Listen, the righteous eat just to satisfy their spirit, and they don't want to stop. Read on.
But the belly of the wicked shall want.
The wicked always
There you
want
go.
more. You know, when something just keeps riding you, that's that wicked nature and wicked soul in you. Why? Where just having enough isn't enough, and you're angry and you gotta go and get what you want. That you know a wicked spirit is on you when what the Most High's got you going through is just not good enough for you.
And that's,
you know you're dealing with Satan.
And that's why men are always angry.
God.
Now we've solved the anger mystery.
Ding, ding, ding,
Because
ding,
there's
ding,
always
ding.
a mystery.
The wicked shall always want.
But brothers are always talking about, oh man, I'm angry, I'm mad, and then you can't counsel me. The counsel ain't good enough. We just had 2 hours of counsel. That 2 hour counsel was not good enough. You had 2.5 hours of class. 2.5 hours of class was not good enough.
440 some odd classes.
445 classes, and I'm still mad. Damn.
I'm still unhappy.
What's going on here? What is really going on? What?
And these classes, they're not
tortured?
some like ABC shit. We're really getting there, really digging into the brains of human beings.
Are you being tortured in the mind because you have 400 classes already and it's just not good enough? I need 1,000 classes about how native I need 1,000 classes. If you don't give me 1,000, I'm gonna be angry.
Wicked. I'm still gonna be Diablo.
No, because you know what? You haven't done the work to purge, like a war's wanted to about the excessive nature. You can have 10,000. We can literally go into 10,000 classes over time, and you'll still be angry because you didn't do the work.
Because you're not using Physique.
Listen,
you're not using Physique, so you're always going to be sick.
The information's cool.
If you don't purge out your system will be deranged.
And this point. So
it can't heal itself.
It can't heal. We're going to the point of the Bible says that a person's heart, right, is more something than 7 watchmen. That's not the point I'm trying to bring up. But it says that a person's mind, once they keep hearing scriptures, the heart of the fool seeks to discover itself. Yep. A fool wants to hear how many different ways is wicked. Versus, damn, I see I'm wicked now. Now it's time to purge. You just want to hear 1,000 reasons why you're off.
It's almost like you have to purge from all the excessive meats so that small portions are okay again.
Enough.
Because if you don't get all the impurities out of your system, you don't build your body up. You can't even think about eating proper portions and eating right to stabilize your body. Yeah. It's almost like even with people talking about sugars, you have to come off sugars and go through all the detox before you can sit back here and eat a healthy diet and be satisfied with a healthy diet.
Apple ain't sweet. Apple's not sweet when you're used to drinking Coca-Cola, bro. It's not. When you cut out Coca-Cola, drink water. Yeah. Apple, man, this apple's too much. This is too sweet.
This ain't tasty.
That's the same apple. I've experienced it myself. Yeah. Where like this fruit is super sweet. When it wasn't sweet when you ate a Jolly Rancher. Yeah, Jolly Rancher.
This ain't shit. That apple ain't shit.
This is some sour. This is sour apple right here.
Yeah, this is not a tasty apple.
But when you stop eating Jolly Ranchers, that apple is exceptionally sweet. Yes. Your palate changes according to your ability to purge yourself.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. You can't purge. It's like you have to purge, and then you also have to eliminate. Yeshaya. You have to purge, and then you also have to eliminate that source that keeps re-deranging your system.
Yeah.
That's what ends up getting us out. You have to purge, and then make sure you don't. You have to cut off those arenas that constantly derange your system again. Yeah. Whether it's the television, the social media, whether it's physical or spiritual. Yeah. You have to cut off those sources that keep deranging your body.
That makes 1,000. Listen. This what you're bringing out of war is because we all say I don't know how to heal. I don't know how to.
I don't understand how to fix it.
Yeah, listen. You give me counsel. I don't know how to heal. I have 445 classes. I don't know how to heal. You heal when you start blocking those paths. Then naturally, when you stop eating crap,
you have to block the paths and then purge.
Yes.
Because you can't listen. It's like I know I'm gonna use this. I know people. You know, there were certain herbs we used to take, and there's certain cleansing herbs. It says, don't eat processed foods and don't drink alcohol while you're purging, while you're flushing out. Mm-hmm. I knew brothers that would sit back and still take those herbs and still drink alcohol, right? and still eat like Whataburger, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to purge properly if you're taking cleansing herbs
Intermingling.
and you're deranging your body still, then you're just defeating the purpose of the purging. That's even on a physical medical process scenario. It's the same thing spiritually. If we don't cut off these sources that feed the lust, you can sit back and study all day long. You're still going to have a deranged mind.
That's what brothers don't get. I love that you said that.
And then what we do is when we sit back and say, man, I'm just taking a break. I'm watching a movie to relax. But what you just did is you just dirtied everything that you cleaned up.
You pressed the reset button. You were getting ahead like
You
5
cleaned
levels.
up in the scriptures for like 30 minutes. Then you dirtied your mind again by watching smut on television. In the name of I'm just relaxing.
That's real. That's real.
That's a real thing. We do it all the time. We re-dirty and re-derange our mind right after we study. Like right now, we come out of class, mind is right, mind is pure. We go home and we get right back into negative tendencies and mindsets that dirty our mind again.
And that's what the scripture's about that pig that go.
If you touch a dead body after you cleanse yourself, what was the good of cleansing yourself? This is what we do and why we don't see results in our situation. Why we don't see results in the physical diets, how our eating, and why we don't see results in our deranged mind.
And this is why rehab is so important. Because when people go to rehab, everybody gets good in rehab. Everybody, listen, I've seen people go to rehab plenty of times and they come back shining, hair looking great, skin looking great, eyes shining.
You know why? Because you don't have access to what was weakening you for a long. Listen, every rehab place I've heard about, what do they take away? No phones. They cut out all your social media.
Yeah.
Why? Because those are stressors.
Yeah.
And all those stressors sit back here, and they're pulls and they weaken you.
Excite you.
And they excite you.
Hey, can I say this right here? And this is important now. When you look at the feeds on YouTube, the scientists and the psychologists, they tell people that people are attracted to the facial expressions out. There's this guy, the next little picture got like this.
I hate those.
The other guy like this. It's 1,000 different facial expressions. You're like, damn, you want to connect to the different faces out. Because they're different stimulation. I want to be sad. I want to be happy. I want to be angry. I want to see a beef video. People are looking all these different.
They do have those things.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the mind is attracted to just the stimulation of.
And then on YouTube they'll say this just in, but then it was like on the bottom 3 hours ago. Like, why did it say just in if it was 3 hours ago? Like, what's going on here, right? But they use it just in. Oh, let me push the button. What's going on here?
They're trying to stimulate you.
Exactly.
It's that digital table of meats.
Yeah.
That's going to overstimulate you. But going back to the concept of the rehab works when you're at rehab.
Yeah.
When you're outside of rehab, it doesn't work anymore.
Exactly.
So whatever they're doing in the rehab, what's the secret to rehab? Whatever was going on in the rehab has to be your life.
Take it in the real world.
Outside of rehab.
That's the
That's the secret.
That don't happen.
It never happens. That's the point. Because you know what people just don't want to accept.
Rehab didn't work for me, dog.
It's like everyone wants to go on these goddamn bullshit keto diets and all these crazy diets. The answer is the hardest damn answer. Cut off the sugars. The answer is always the same thing. Cut off processed foods. Cut off sugars. Cut down your meat intake. It's always the same answer.
It's remix.
It's always cut off your alcohol consumption. Cut off your meats. Cut off your your processed food. Your white flour.
Self-time.
Cut it all off.
Yeah.
And then you'll sit back here and replace it with green vegetables. And listen, green vegetables. Yeah. Just eat green vegetables.
Yeah.
Eat fruits and vegetables.
There you go.
And I'm like, yeah, I know that, but there's got to be something else, right? It's always there's got to be some keto shit going on, or let's eliminate this gluten stuff. It's something gluten. It's something paleo. Yeah. That sounds dope. That's like what's hot in the streets, versus just saying, listen, it's the same old thing. Eat vegetables. Cut out sugar, bro. Cut out processed food. No flour. No white flour. Anything white flour, anything processed, don't eat it. I can tell it to you. I can spit it right there. But when you go home, it's like, ain't nothing to eat.
It's not against the law.
There ain't nothing to eat in the house. There is. There's fruits. I don't know what that is. I don't know what to tell you then. And there's a straight up damn banana right there, right? And there's every fruit in America. Right? The only fruit you want to eat is a goddamn apricot. And because there ain't no apricots, I ain't gonna eat none of this other damn fruit in the damn kitchen. And I'm gonna keep getting sick. What's that?
I'm sorry. When that COVID shit hit, and people said there was no food in the grocery store, all the meat was gone, right? And there was buku vegetables, right?
There ain't no food in the streets.
I'm sorry, I just want to say that. It was crazy.
Brother, but it's all facts.
We're gonna go.
But you know the problem is, people always say, I don't know what to do. You know exactly what to do. The answer is always hard. It requires abstinence, and it requires the real change. In order to eliminate the deranged body and deranged mind.
Yeah.
Listen, if you want to eliminate the deranged mind, cut off all your social media. Listen, if you're really about it, get you a flip phone, B. Why don't you go in there, once you go back to Sprint or T-Mobile, say, nah, B,
get you a dumb
I
phone.
want that flip phone.
I want that boy.
I want that flip phone. It ain't got no device but text and call. That's it.
How are you? How are you?
That will break the spirit out. Listen, text and phone calls, no internet, B. How about that? That'll break spirits out.
I remember that time period.
Listen,
I remember that time period when they had phones like really small.
Yeah,
it was cool how small your phone was.
And it was like damn near impossible to get like to connect to the internet out.
But I ain't gonna lie,
It took forever to get to where you wanted to get.
I was still supercharged, bro, because it was the TV.
Yeah.
It was the Victoria's Secret got. You can hear everybody walk around talking. You hear the babies in the mall. You hear people playing
flute
music.
guy, the Peruvian
the
flute
flute
guy.
always playing out. Your body just looking for stimulation, bro.
Yeah.
This is just it makes it easier
Yeah.
to get the dope now.
But this is my point.
Yeah.
You cut off the phone.
Yeah.
Then instead of being deranged, you look for other things to cut off in.
Yeah.
That's the answer. The answer is, if you want to stay strong, you have to eliminate the distractions.
Yeah.
And you have to be happy with little.
Yep.
You have to be at peace with little. There's no other answer. Can you study and read and counsel and communicate with people to teach you what contentment is, to remind you what contentment is, remind you what that contentment is valuable? Not stressing out on the things you can't control is valuable. To be at peace with just the necessities in life is all you need.
And do you know what meat you like to eat?
Okay.
Because you were going to meat as far as meat being a spirit.
Okay.
Right. What there's a person we all go into the identification of the appetite.
That's the first. But see, you can't even go into this next level unless you learn what you're strong or weak at.
Yeah.
And then once you know you're weak at this and this triggers you, are you willing to cut it off? Are you willing to just give it up and say, I can't, this doesn't work for me in my life? There's certain people even in this room that they just can't eat meat because it just blocks their system out. You don't got to raise your hands, but there's certain people that just can't eat meat. But you might love meat. So you're faced with the question: meat clogs me up, but I love meat, and because I love meat and it clogs me up, it makes me sick and it slows me down. What are you gonna do? It's a real question. Are you gonna sit back here and eliminate meat so that you can live a healthier, vibrant life, or are you gonna keep eating meat and staying sick?
Depending on your condition. Because the problem is, you stated early in the class, people look at it as it's just not the 613 laws and commandments. I get that.
Yep.
We're going with, okay, what about your spirit led you to break the 613 commandments?
Yep. And going into this is what it takes to stay potent with the Most High. What am I willing to cut off? What am I going to let go? For the sake of righteousness' sake. For the sake of me being my most potent self. Spiritually. That's what this is about. But once again, let's go back to the Physique verse. There's a lot to go. We didn't
Come.
It's crazy.
Ecclesiastes chapter 18, verse 19 reads, "Learn before thou speak, and use physique, or ever thou be sick."
He said, use physique, or ever thou be sick. If you don't purge, let's go back in that definition of physique.
Physique, the art of healing diseases.
Let's get this is the third one, right?
The third one. It says a medicine that purges, a purge, a cathartic.
Mm-hmm. Give me the next one. To treat.
To cure.
No, to treat with physique.
To treat. Oh, got that.
To treat with physique, to evacuate the bowels with the cathartic.
What does it mean to
What's the next one? What's the next part?
To cure.
To purge.
Oh, excuse me. To purge.
This is the thing. To use physique or ever thou be sick. Purge or you're going to be sick. You have to purge out all that sickness, all that negative, all that leaven. It all goes throughout the scriptures. If you don't purge out the leaven, if you don't purge out the sickness, and then not and cut off all of the arenas that feed the sickness and that deranged mind and flesh, you're going to keep getting sick. You have to eliminate it. If you don't purge it, you're going to always be sick. What's that? What you thinking?
I was just wondering, but it takes a level of not denying what causes the issue, right? I mean, because we can have a denial, right, about what stimulus, what element around me is actually the cause of my to keep going back in this cycle. So there's a denial with that as well, right?
No doubt. Listen, the reality is this change is hard. And it's important. Classes like this are cutting off all the fluff and getting to the core of what it takes to change and why we don't change. This is hard work. Yes, sir.
So would you call it like a trial and error process?
Your life is a trial and error process. That's what he's saying was in your life, prove your life. Figure out what works and what doesn't work. And it shouldn't take 20 years to figure it out. Because that's what it took, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm ready to change now. Yeah. Well, damn, you've been getting classes for 20 years.
Because though,
yes,
we all had the luxury of counselors here.
Yeah.
So brother can play the trial and error game out.
That's what they can't be 20 years. Listen, I'm gonna say this. I'm not trying to cut you off.
Yeah.
It's up to you to determine how long it takes for you to realize you have a battle. That takes time in itself. It takes X amount of weeks, months, years to figure out, to explore in your heart to find out you're weak to this shit. Then it takes another X amount of years to figure out strategies to break it. Strategies to get on top. That's the hardest part. So the quickest, listen, if you're wise and you're humble, you'll figure out what the weakness is early enough. The challenge is, okay, once you know what it is, how hard are you going to commit to finding out different ways to cut off these things that cause the derangement of the inside, of the internal part of you? Yes,
but that was a wearing at the doorsteps, right?
It's counsel and communication and honesty.
Well, the reason I brought that up, the trial and error, I say that because I'll be trying to change something about myself or cut something off, and then I end up failing at that.
Mm-hmm.
So then I realize, like, dang, I'm actually not as good as I thought I was. But let me go right back at it.
And that's why I explained the way I did. Like, part of it is just being honest enough for the information to come out and the reality about you to be brought to your face. Then once that reality is, I know, man, it takes 10 years just to get them to accept what they are. That's when you're wasting damn time. When you're lying and you're being secretive and it takes forever for you just to be revealed. And then after that, then the real battle comes to about how to find leverage over that flesh and how to find ways to cut off all these different loopholes and fallibilities that end up exposing your weakness even more. But it's still about recognition and then finding ways to cut off all these weaknesses that make you less of a man in Christ's eyes. So I get what you said, it perfect. But one of the keys is getting the truth about yourself open as quickly as possible. So you can start that internal battle, so you can start seeing some good in your fight. Does that make sense? Okay. Where are we at? Let's go to Physique again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 18 verse 19 reads, Learn before thou speak, and use physique, or ever thou be sick.
So if you either purge or ever thou be sick. Purge what's inside of your flesh, or you're gonna be sick. Purge your mind, or you're gonna be sick.
Yeah, guys, and the sickness is whatever your mental disposition is, or the distemper the Most High gives you in life.
Yep.
Whatever affects you, if it's poverty, or if it's always low rank, or if it's always depression, or if it's always breakups, everything's always a breakup, or it's always just sitting here and I'm just angry. That's the sickness. We go in classes about different sicknesses. It's telling you how to get out of the state or condition of those different sicknesses.
Okay.
What is your sickness? Well, you have to purge in order to correct the sickness. That's the only way you can do it.
Now listen, there's a lot more to this class, but we're going to stop it at this verse. It's First Timothy chapter 6, verse 6 to 11. We can go a lot further in this, but it's almost 10:30, and I don't know if we're going to go back into this class again, but there's a lot more to this topic, bro.
I would like to see what else you have on.
A lot, but let's do it. First Timothy 6, verse. Matter of fact, 6 verse 6.
1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 6. But
what you got for purge, Jack? You said
That was Physic.
No. This was Nagahaz. This is purge, probably from the derivative of pure.
5 is to clarify. It's clarity.
Yeah, to clarify. So listen, whether you're purging the stomach or you're purging the mind, to clarify your mind. I'm telling you, I don't know about you, but if I got a lot going on in my head, it's hard to focus on the scriptures. It's hard to really get the understanding of what the Most High is trying to take me in different directions in my class. But if every day I operate with not a lot of crap going on in my life, I can recenter and I can reconnect to the spirit a lot easier. But when I got a lot of shit in my head, I'm not saying responsibility is one thing, but negative thoughts is another. You got a lot of negative thoughts in your head. It's damn near impossible. We have a responsibility not to entertain negative thoughts. That's the derangement. That's what has to be purged. With all that negative thoughts in my head, the spirit, into a malicious spirit, wisdom won't enter. Listen, a body that's subject to sin, that's subject to harboring negative, wisdom can't flow through it. So the challenge is to sit back and keep purging out the negative so I can have a cleaner connection to the spirit. That's the challenge. Let's read this in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6 to 11.
1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain.
It's great gain to do the right thing and just be content that you did the right thing. That's the challenge. Can you have a hard day's work for the body, go home, have a meal, and just say, man, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, but I had a good day for the Most High? The problem is we want something out of the deal. Read verse 5.
Verse 5. It says, perverse disputings of men of corrupt mind.
We're going to find out what makes men's mind corrupt. Read on.
And destitute of the truth.
What makes a man's mind destitute of the truth? What makes a man's mind corrupt? Read on.
Supposing that gain is godly.
A lot of times what kills a man is that he has to be coming up to feel that he's growing. He has to be coming up in the carnal to feel like he's accomplished something in the spirit. This is what kills man. We just can't accept that studying, reading the scriptures, doing the service of the Most High is enough. That's what goes back into that verse in Ecclesiasticus chapter 31 and 19. Ecclesiasticus 31 and 19 says what? It says, a very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured. Can I just do a godly thing? Can I have a godly service and be content that I did godly work? How come that's not enough for me? That's the question we should be driving down our head consistently. Why isn't just doing good works for the Most High? Why doesn't that make my soul at peace?
That's the real problem.
That's the real problem. Why isn't just doing good enough? Why isn't this doing good for the Most High enough for you? Why do you got to have this and this and this and this for you to feel complete?
Why is my soul complete and content?
Just with the little the Most High gives me.
Because I'm ungrateful.
That is exactly the answer. But he says those ungrateful people are perverse. And they're men of corrupt minds.
Wow.
Your mind is corrupt because you want more than just doing your service to the Most High. Didn't Leviticus 25 and 55 say we're servants to the Most High? Then how come me being a servant to the Most High isn't good enough for me if it was good enough for the Most High to put me through it? And because that's not good enough for you is why you're going to always be hollow inside and not be happy. And as long as you're not happy, the Spirit's not going to be with you. There is a scripture in 2nd Ezra, if I'm not mistaken, chapter 8 and verse 17. Damn it, is it 17? Was it 27? Oh, I guess it's in first, that's why, okay. Let's see, 8, 17. I was looking through it today, and it left me. Damn it, let me see.
Keep their testimonies and afflictions.
What verse is it?
That's 2 Ezra 8 and 27. It says, "Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies and afflictions."
It's I think it's around there because that's where I'm at. The verse talks about the fact that you're at peace when that you're happy doing the work of the Most High, and doing the work of the Most High is not a burden. It's not like it's just like you're going through the sufferings of damn Job when you're doing his work. I don't have it on the top of my head, and I can't find it. I saw it, I read it. Let me see. I had it in another class too. Maybe if I look at it there, I kind of want to find this verse.
Second, you said
it's in 2nd Ezra, and it's an 8. I'm pretty sure it's an 8.
Guard.
Damn it. Here it goes. Hold on. I think I might have it.
You said okay.
I think I can. Let me see. Salakia, y'all online. I don't normally do this, but I think Damn it. Let me see.
What does it say?
Verse 12.
Said peace.
I can't even find the key word. Normally I'll have the key word. I don't have that key word on me. Shoot. You know what?
Not by constraint.
What's the understanding?
No, it's not that. You know, it's crazy. It's if I don't see it, it's not coming to me.
What's the understanding of it?
You know what? I it's not going to come out the right way.
Okay.
It's not going to work. So where are we at, bro? Where are we at? It sucks that I can't hit it right.
2 Timothy chapter 6.
Yeah. So give me verse. Yeah. So give me verse 6 again. So we understand that the perverse minds, the people that are corrupt minds, they're corrupt and they're destitute of truth because gain is godliness in their mind.
Yes.
Gain and coming up is what makes them happy.
I'm not going to serve God if I gain.
Exactly.
So people think gain godliness just mean that you think that, if I get blessed, I'm definitely.
That's me growing.
The Most High is here.
I've seen brothers teach that.
Yeah.
that if you're not prospering, you're not growing.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Well, it's not that we shouldn't pursue to grow. That's not the point.
Yeah.
But my happiness and my self-esteem shouldn't rise and fall based on me having something. Now, if I'm working to attain something, cool. But I shouldn't be happy or sad because the Most High has me down or high.
It determines how I deal with people.
You can't operate like that. But let's go to verse 6.
But godliness with contentment is great gain.
Mm-hmm.
For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out.
Exactly.
And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content.
It still goes back to accepting your condition and being happy with what the Most High gave you. And can I be content with just enough to function and get by in the flesh and maximizing my spiritual experience? This is what the Most High is expecting from us. How well can I purge? You know, how much you purge out of your spirit is based on your contentment with serving the Most High. How much you purge out of your flesh is contingent about how much you're content with doing this work. If you're content with doing this work, you don't need all these outside ancillary things. If you're content with doing this work and studying and reading and spending time with brothers, that should be enough. This is what the Most High is determining in your spirit based upon why you keep bringing extra deranged spirits into your life.
And this is what happens to leaders.
Why isn't teaching and studying enough for you? Why can't you study, read the Bible, be stimulated by the lessons you gain from it, and just lay your ass to sleep? Why do I got to turn up and feed the flesh before I'm comfortable and I can relax? These are questions you got to ask yourself. Why do I got to watch TV? Why I got to be stimulated by social media? Just to relax myself. Why you eat all these beers before you go down to sleep? Why is this so important to you? If you can tap into that, that's how you can start learning to get leverage over the flesh. And you can start learning how to starve the flesh out. Anyway, read on.
Verse 9. 2 Timothy chapter 6, verse 9. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows.
Listen, sorrows come from the love of money or the love of other things. If you're unhappy, it's because you love something in the flesh. It's telling you, and I'm sorrowful because I don't have what I'm looking for in the flesh. But the Most High is saying, listen, I'll give you what you want in the flesh if you stop being sorrowful for not having it. But you know the lesson is, you can't care about what you get in the flesh. Then the Most High give it to you. How about that? Once getting what you get in the flesh doesn't matter if you got it or not, then He'll give it to you. As long as it matters to you, He ain't gonna give it to you. Does that make sense what I just said? Yes.
Do you have to still have another mindset on top of that?
What do you mean?
Like, I get it. You don't want it, but just because you don't want it, the Most High is gonna bless you with that.
Or say that thing again, sir. Say that point again.
Just because you don't want it means the Most High is gonna bless you with that, or do you have to have another mindset on top of that?
Willing mind.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. 2nd Ezra 8 and 5 is not the one I'm looking for, sir, but it is in chapter 8. I'm getting asked a bunch of questions. What was your question again? I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. My bad. So you said once you stop wanting it, then the Most High will bless you with it.
But okay. Once you stop wanting it, something else has to replace that want.
Yeah.
It can't be like, I don't want it, Father.
I don't want to.
Whatever you give me that thing that I don't want.
That's what I'm saying. So what
it doesn't matter. You get like bluff the Most High. I don't want that. I don't care about that. When are you gonna give it to me, by the way?
Yeah. So most will test you anyway. He'll test you anyway.
He's gonna stretch it.
He tries to rank.
What it is you can't want it, and your pursuit, that void that comes from not wanting something, that void has to be replaced with pursuing the Most High.
With wanting the Most High.
With wanting more than the Most High.
Okay.
You get that point?
Yeah.
That void has to be about, okay, that void that I once had for this has to be replaced with a greater passion to please the Heavenly Father.
People,
then the Most High knows, oh, he's real about it.
It's for real. People want to play a trick the Most High game. like little kids.
I know.
I'm act like I don't want it so I can get it.
That's the point.
It's a child game. Listen, you have to be happy without it. Now remember, okay, I know he really needs this right here. I'm gonna hook him up.
Kinda.
Because he doesn't need it. But he's flipping out, pitching a B because he can't get it. That's how you know he can't get it. He can't have it. He can't handle it. You can't handle this blessing.
Yep. So let's continue.
2 Timothy chapter 6, verse 11. But thou, O man of the Most High, flee these things, and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, meekness.
But in order to follow after these things, those things need to fulfill you. Listen, righteousness has to fulfill you. Meaning, me doing the right thing, I can go home and lay down and be at peace with life because I pursued righteousness, godliness, faith, love, and patience and meekness. Because I exercise that, that's my fix. And can we be acceptant of that being our fix? If it's not, then we're going to constantly be unhappy about how our dynamic is so much about the program and not for me. That's why people get upset too. There's no time for me. And the Most High is a jealous power. Why isn't serving? Listen, you say there's no time for me. The Most High say, how come what I've given you isn't enough? That's the Most High's perspective. We're obsessed with our perspective. But we're not obsessed with the Most High's perspective. How comes loving me and serving me doesn't make you happy and doesn't bring you peace of mind? Does that make sense? Listen, it's getting late. It's really getting late. I would go further. Like, we have around 8 more verses, but it's not going to work, man. Are any questions? No. I'll see you about next time. This will be a part 3, man. I don't know. Part 3s are always the Jews hate part 3s online.
This is a part 3. That would be a part 3.
That would be a part 3. This was an extension from last week's class about spiritually thriving in today's digital age. It still kind of goes into that.
Okay.
All right. So, any questions online? Listen, you gonna give me that? Trying to give me that verse now? No, that's not it. That's not it. Listen, throughout Israel, we're back on Wednesday, and hopefully I'll have that damn Esdras verse for y'all. I'll see y'all on Wednesday, and we have class on Friday, and so forth and so on. Shalom Israel. Talk to y'all soon.